for Twiestel Andersen. It is Unibet Rose Rockets for Dylan Grunewagen, the white of Soudal Quickstep for Paul Magnier, and then the yellow of Visma Lisa bike, not for a sprinter, but they want another calm day for Jonas Vingegaard. So everybody at the front of the peloton right now, Macca, they want this break to go, and they want a much easier day than what they had yesterday.
I was about to say it's suiting quite a few teams, but it's not suiting Astana. So again, these are the teams now who want to be in it. So it only takes one, as you said. Todotsi again. He was in the attack just prior. So will there be another reaction?
They won't mind letting that one rider go. What the sprinters will be very happy about is that it hasn't caused a reaction from the peloton. But what about the fact that in the peloton they can still see the break? So those that have had the instructions to get into the move, the enticement is still there.
But just looking at the peloton now, it doesn't look like anyone's trying to force their way up the side or anyone's sort of edging around the front. It does look like this could really just go away.
This could be it, Mitch. You're right.
Have a look here. There's a little chance for them to move around on the right. No riders moving. It's all pretty blocked up there.
The perfect scenario for the teams of the sprinters. They'll have at least control for the first 90 kilometres.
Yeah, that's right. It's not a big group. It's not 10, 12 riders. You almost saw another reaction there, but looking like the perfect scenario here.
Tarozzi again going off the front for Bardiani.
Well, you mentioned that, Macca, before that the Jaco Alula team missed the break, the ultimate break yesterday, but they did have earlier on Kun Baumann. He was in that first move, which looked like that was going to stick. A lot of moves looked like they were going to stick yesterday. I was able to check in with Ben O'Connor overnight to get a bit of a Jaco Alula update and see what's going on the camp there for the Australian team. And one of the things taking in consideration is, look, you mentioned it before, that Polti team visit Malta. There's another move going here from Movistar. They're not quite happy with it.
And you just see a bit of gesturing of the hand there. Come on, man. Enough.
Well, as he's going across there, we can't quite see who that rider is. Is that my man, Malesi?
And there's a reaction that is coming from Albertson Premier Tech.
So again, yeah, there you go. It just takes 1, 2, 3.
And in this situation, Mitch, the teams of the sprinters, they don't want that group to get too big, because then it will be really hard to bring back. So they have to try and stamp out those flurries, but then create a gap for those that are out in front.
It's a fine line, because you start chasing a group, a rider like that, and you start the reaction. Obviously, the peloton thins out as you chase one rider, and you can get around. So sometimes it might be as simple as just let one rider go. Let them try and ride across. But clearly that Movistar rider is not the rider they want there. It's a stronger rider. I'm tipping it's one of the taller riders from Movistar. It was hard to see exactly who that was, either Malesi or Oliveira.
But
there you go, and it's created a reaction here.
Yeah, and I mean, Movistar are looking to be the most motivated team at the moment.
Pink jersey is on the front doing some work from within the peloton. That's a lack of experience from the 24-year-old race leader, Afonso Eulalio.
Yeah, he can afford at the moment. And you know, you're seeing the mood already. And this is where the team really need to instruct him as well. Sit back, sit mid peloton. You don't need even to be in the top 20, I would say, at the moment. You can afford to be sitting right back in the belly, hiding in the wind, chasing to a wheel on this long, slow drag. It can actually sting the legs.
There's a look at some historic leadership changes on stage 12 of the Giro d'Italia. The winner also taking the Mare Rosa on that stage. So often in the middle of the race, there are big days in the mountains. Today is not such a stage. It's not. Do you even classify it as a medium mountain stage, or is it just a slightly hilly stage?
Slightly hilly, I'd say. Yeah, it's not even medium mountain, is it? Yesterday, you could probably give it that, but 2 Category 3s to date. Yeah, the profile.
It's still got over 2,000 metres of altitude, so look, they're still getting a fair amount in their legs. But yeah, it's just where the climbs come, and the percentage of the climbs, they're not overly steep as well.
Great road conditions through here, and it's the favoured the hills and the bridges cut out the valleys. Keep the race as flat as possible, Mitch.
My other theory is the freeways are great to race on. You might be thinking at home, why would you want to race on a freeway? I always used to say the best roads to train on are the worst roads to race on. The small, little, twisty, windy ones, you never want to race on those ones. They're the ones you want to ride on your own when you've got plenty of time and cruising around. In a Peloton, worst nightmare. Bring bigger roads, more places to sit in the bunch.
Matthias is in the move yet again for Polti Visit Malta. He flicks the elbow. It is Jonas Jens, who's the next to go through. It's then Torozzi from the Bardiani squad. Jardi van der Lee is the rider who is out there for EF Education Easy Post. Juan Pedro Lopez is out there for Movistar. Lopez is the best placed over.
Nah, que frita esta porquería. Parece que es por este TikTok, ¿cómo se ve este video?
Wild. It's you and Subaru for a world discovered. See you out there.
What started with a passenger list led me to discover the incredible story of my great-great-great Aunt Mary.
There could be more to your story too. Piece it together with Ancestry.
Yo, all right.
minute and 25. Seconds behind. He's in the Movistar colours, sitting in second last position. Manuela Turozzi now rolls through for Bardiani. This is his fourth major breakaway of the race. In the greenish colours for DF Education Easy Post, that is Jardy Vanderlee, the Dutchman on the American outfit. And rounding out the group for the second day in a row, Mateo Bass from Polti Visit Malta with the red nicks on. How well has he backed it up in the break yesterday and in the break today?
It's so underestimated what that is. You know, you just say, oh yeah, rider in the break. Oh yeah, that's incredible. It's so difficult to be able to do that 2 days in a row.
Oh, he hasn't even touched the speed up. He's cleared it.
Beautifully done.
And now the Peloton already, they've settled into their rhythm. 2 minutes, that's all we're giving you.
Yeah, they can't nowadays. They can't afford to let these breaks blow out because the speed. They're going so fast. So if they did let it go to 7, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, something like that, the guys out in front, they're not going to slow up as much as they did 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. So they have to keep them in check more so these days.
Unibet Rose Rockets, their sprinter on a flat stage for sure will be one of the favourites, Dylan Groenewegen. But I'm intrigued at how confident they are in him today with how hard it is towards the end. We'll get back to them in a moment. Christian Scaroni for XTS Astana. The team's been having a very good Giro. They've already won 2 stages. They had Ulysses in the move again yesterday. Scaroni is in 13th position overall. Yeah, he is Mr. Consistency. It's been a really good Giro for them.
I'm quite surprised Scaroni's going back to the car, honestly. I thought they might have sent a teammate back for him today, considering 1, he crashed yesterday, and 2, their highest place on GC. Seems strange that he's decided to drift back, get some bottles himself, get an ice sock.
Yeah, and we've spoken about Mateo Bass in the breakaway yesterday and the fatigue that would create. Well, Scaroni, he crashed from being in the breakaway, so he got the double dose.
Yeah.
He was in the break and he crashed.
Yeah, and he boxed on, didn't he? After that crash, he got back up and chased all the way to the line, the breakaway, that is. So, yeah, he had a very solid day.
So De Vries is the rider who sits in second position at the head of the peloton, behind bastions of Soudal Quickstep. De Vries rides for Unibet Rose Rockets. Did you expect them to be doing the work today with the amount of climbing that there is in the last 60 kilometres?
Well, the thing is, it could be also a tactic. They're playing that tactic. Look, we're going to contribute. That means they've got the position. So when they get to the climb, They're hoping that the rest of the peloton goes, oh yeah, well Unibet, Rose Rocket, they're going to ride their tempo. The best thing you can do is control the climb and ride the pace you want to ride. It's still got to be fast enough that the peloton don't feel like they want to attack, but it's slow enough that their sprinter gets over Dylan Groenewegen.
So hard to get that balance right.
Yeah.
How hard is it to ride to the pace that your sprinter will be okay?
Well, you just hear about it pretty quickly if you're going too fast, straight through the radio. He's getting dropped, slow down. Look, I think, other than this, that we're running out of sprint stages. They've come here for a team for the sprint stages, aside from Wout Poels and Walpole, sorry, not Powers, Walpole. So they're here to do their job. They want to show presence on the front, and even riding the front like this gives them exposure. We're talking about them right now.
Yeah, and I've spoken about them a bit with their YouTube channel, and it started as a YouTube team. What I like about their YouTube channel, the content that they provide, it's not too polished. It's fly on the wall. It feels a lot more real than some of the World Tour teams that have got bigger budgets, and it's a high production level. It's better technically, but the insights that Unibet Rose Rockets are giving, well worth a watch, particularly if you're a young kid falling in love with the sport and you want to see how it's done back of house. I'd like to see exactly how it's being done at Visma Lease Bike at the moment. And are they happy with the outcome for Jonas Vingegaard after the time trial?
They would have liked him to be quicker. I think he would have as well, no doubt. But he said post-stage yesterday, feeling pretty good. He was pretty nonchalant about it after the stage. He looked all right. He looked reasonably fresh, considering it was a tough stage. So we're going to find out, though, won't we, how much he's recovered.
Of course, he's got to say that. He's got to say he's feeling good. Cadel Evans gave us great insights when he joined us over the weekend in commentary. One of the stories that he told when we're having exactly this sort of conversation was when he had the yellow jersey at the Tour de France in 2010. He was in the race lead, but he had a fractured elbow.
Yeah.
He wasn't telling anybody.
No.
He was telling everybody that it was fine.
Yeah.
Because we weren't his audience. His audience were his rivals, and he didn't want to give anything away. And him saying that was the right thing for him to say in that moment.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I remember we were on the ground, obviously, and I was, had the task of sort of chasing him at the end of each stage, and you just knew, well, you didn't know what was wrong, but I knew something wasn't right because he just looked a bit ginger. And obviously that injury got a bit worse as it progressed.
Garlic, mushrooms and chestnuts. You're the chef?
Oh, wash it down with a nice white from this area, or a Pinot Noir. Beautiful.
Number 141, Mitch Docker. This is Ben O'Connor at the back. You've been having daily catch-ups with him. What's the general vibe coming out of Jacob Alula with Ben O'Connor?
Well, Ben O'Connor's feeling really confident about his position in the team. Yesterday, he said, actually, he wishes it was almost a full-on GC day, everyone going for it. And I was thinking about that. What could he possibly mean? I thought it was hard enough, but if we think what he said, they'd committed so much anyway, why not let's just go full on and just do it all the way to the line? That's what he was hoping for. Because, why not? They've committed 80% of the effort. Let's just go 100% and split it up. So he's feeling in a good way. He was really impressed with his teammate, Alan Hathloy, who he's coming into his own, he said. He's a mountain biker. He's a world champion mountain biker. Something I didn't realise, he hasn't done a lot of road racing. So coming straight in here, he was feeling a bit sick from Liège-Bastogne-Liège, starting his first Grand Tour. Imagine learning on the ground. He's got the ability, but that's one thing. Having the tactical nous of riding in a bunch and knowing how to go with the moves. Cycling is not just cycling. It doesn't translate across from mountain biking to road cycling, and especially not in a Grand Tour. There's lots of different nuances of how to get through a 3-week race.
And the skills of riding really quickly down a gravelly hill on a mountain bike is very different to positioning in a peloton, dealing with a crosswind. And he's gone from a lot of the people that he's racing against, as we see Enric Mas with the blue jersey for the Red Bull sprint yesterday and the red for the most combative. Most of the people in this peloton, they learned the bunchcraft at much slower speeds as 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds. He's learning bunchcraft at 50 kilometres per hour in the World Tour with the most most experienced cyclists in the world. That's a tough place to learn.
Yeah, and we've talked about this over the last couple of nights as well, haven't we? And generations prior, the Richie Ports who just stepped in to Grand Tours like this one, where Richie debuted and ended up top 10 overall. And, you know, just it fascinates me how quickly they learn how to race in a peloton. Cadel Evans, it took him many years. A lot of people would forget that he came from a mountain biking background, but it took him a long time to handle and hold his position, especially in the Grand Tours.
He was 28, Cadel, when he made his debut in the Tour de France.
Yeah.
He was 25 when he made his debut in the Giro d'Italia. Incidentally, when Cadel made his debut in the Giro d'Italia in 2002, he became the first Australian to wear the leader's jersey, the pink jersey. In that edition of the Giro, there were 4 Australians on the start line. There were 4 Australians this year inside the top 10 out of the 12 that started. And possibly the best option for the general classification crashed out on stage 2, Jay Vine.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, especially if they'd lost their leader, you know, Adam Yates. If Jay Vine was still here now with Adam Yates, I still tend to think Jay Vine would have gone stage hunting. He's such a good stage hunter. I haven't really seen him ever really put his nose into the GC other than the Tour Down Under in any other stage race, of my knowledge, but he's so good at hunting those stages. He's just got such a specialty at it.
Yeah. Yeah, he really earmarks them, doesn't he? And he when he does, he very rarely misses the target. He's proven that.
I thought he was the only one on the start list that could have challenged Filippo Ganna in the individual time trial. And as good as Jay is, and he was the silver medalist at the World Championships last year behind Remco, I'd like to know his thoughts on whether he could have challenged Filippo Ganna, because it's hard to see how anybody could have gone as quick as Filippo on the course that suited him perfectly. A hillier course, Jay is
totally
absolutely capable of beating Filippo Ganna, but that was tailor-made for Ganna. Teutenberg at the back for leader Trek. Ular was the rider from Movistar, the Venezuelan national champion. I've really enjoyed the way Movistar have approached the race. They haven't won yet, but they can.
2 times second now, so yeah, they've been close but no cigar. And I think, you know, a big change in that team has been the Australian sports director, Matt White, coming in there. He's really sort of, you know, we're only speculating, but we can only assume that he's the one sort of putting this attacking aggressive style that they're showing. It's a long time since we've seen this, since back in the Alejandro Valverde days.
Well, White is the change, because just about everybody on the start list for Movistar in this Giro was with the team last year. Max Sciandri, the other sports director, he was with the team last year. Matt White, he wasn't with the team last year. And it's a very different looking Movistar. Felix Gall in the individual time trial, he slipped down 1 spot. He's now in 4th position. A lot was made about his helmet. He didn't have his visor on, and he said it was uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was more
I've heard quite a few quotes about the time trial isn't about being comfortable. It's about being fast. And there's been a lot of investment paid by the team to get the slipperiest equipment possible, and he wasn't wearing it.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to know how many seconds, if any, it did cost him. Surely you'd think they would have had that discussion.
This is Palazzari. He wears the white jersey on loan for the best young rider classification. He's 3 minutes and 36 seconds down. Then it's Bolocchi, Rondale and Piganzoli. These are 5 riders we're going to talk about for a long time to come as challengers for the podium and to win the Giro, the Vuelta. Not sure about the Tour. Maybe they can challenge for the Tour, but it's such an exciting generation coming through.
It is a good generation. Yeah, and we're just on the tip of it, aren't we, of them now seeing the best of them. Palazzari has suddenly risen in the last sort of 2 years. He was a little bit crook going into the time trial. Suffered the day or 2 before that, but from all accounts, he's starting to feel a lot better now. So not all is lost, and he's certainly still within a challenging position of podium, I think.
Back on board with the breakaway, and their advantage, it's down to 124 already. Maximum lead they got was 157.
Well, that's it. We keep saying it, but the sprinters teams can control this. 5 riders for Movistar. We've sort of pointed out that it's as active as they've been, and they've got one here. It's not the right one. Pedro Lopez. This is not a day for him. The climbs are too far from the finish, so it could be a blessing in disguise if it comes back from Movistar with the fact that they've got Ular sitting back there.
And Lopez at number 84, he's a high mountains guy. He's better off in the breakaway on Saturday or some of the mountaintop finishes in week 3. Jonas Jens, his socks with the Zwift logo on them. Fun is fast. That's the motto for Zwift, and that is certainly the motto for Alpes and Premier Tech. They do have plenty of fun. The sun is out, the break is away, but the sprinters teams have got them under control from within the peloton.
This is my grandmother.
Grandma.
Essie Davis discovers a colourful family history.
What? I literally come from a den of babes.
Who do you think you are? Tuesday, 7:30 on SBS.
A long way to go before they hit the first of the climbs. Sourdale Quickstep, they're hoping for yet another stage victory for their sprinter, Paul Magnier. The young Frenchman has stepped up to the pressure. He is meeting all the hype that was labelled on him across the past 2 years.
Yeah, absolutely. It's spot on, isn't it, Matt? It's there was plenty of hype about him, and he was getting victories, but not not the big ones that we've seen here. And so he's delivered in spades. But he's hunting more. He wants more, so he wants this to be a race to remember. It already will be by the time if he makes it to the finish, but he'd love one or two more.
Well, one of the sprinters that won't be in action today is Erlen Blickra. He is the sprinter from Uno X Mobility, and he is the first rider in this year's Giro to be eliminated as a result of being at the time delay. That was yesterday. He was 37 minutes and 6 seconds behind. There was the main gruppetto that finished around about 8 minutes ahead of him. He missed the time cutoff yesterday, Mitch Docker, by 1 minute and 31 seconds. And they showed no compassion. Bad luck. There's a cutoff. You're outside. Go home.
It's something that is real, and it really does scare you as a I guess a sprinter or a bigger rider, that time delay. So they give you a percentage at the start of the stage of what that will be, and once the first rider goes across the line, you see the average speed, and then you get dealt what the percentage is going to be. Yesterday was 13%. Once you get the time of the winner, you can calculate 13% of that, and that ended up being 35 minutes and 35 seconds yesterday. You'll get that information through the radio, but in my experience, it's always better to calculate that yourself, because sports directors do make mistakes. Once you know that time, you've really got to either haul ass, or you can take the foot off the gas a little bit if you know you're going to make it. It's all about saving time. So yesterday, it's generally the theory is safety in numbers. If you can be with 40 or 30 riders, if you miss the time delay by about a minute, generally the race organisation will go, we're not going to eliminate 30 riders. Unfortunately, yesterday, for Bikra, single rider, one rider, they can't just let him in because they've got to make a point. This is the time delay. This is what they have it for.
They have to stick to the rules, don't they? And I saw a clip from the team actually, and it was one of his teammates who was waiting, and they're like, "Why are you waiting?" He's like, "I'm waiting for my man." His teammate, of course, Blickra, and yeah, it showed him coming in, and he just slumped over the. Pretty brutal, isn't it? But you're right, it's safety in numbers, and the one Grand Tour I rode, and other tours for that. Possibly better than my ability, because even though I was hurting more and spending more bickies, then I knew I'd be safe, and I knew I always had one group behind me. So in case you did get dropped from that one, you always knew you had one behind. Whereas if you're in the last group on the road, sometimes you don't have that choice. That's where you're meant to be. You get dropped from that, as you said, you're solo, you're on your own, you're in trouble.
There was no trouble yesterday for the riders from Visma Lease Bike. They did a great job surrounding the blue jersey and second overall, Jonas Vingegaard. And there's no shame in being eliminated. In fact, some of my fondest memories of Mark Cavendish and Robbie McEwen have been at the Tour de France. Each of them have had the experience where they've finished outside the time delay, and the level of respect for those guys that have won multiple stages at the Tour, 12 stages for Robbie McEwen, 35 for Mark Cavendish, to see them show the respect to the race and finish something that they started is really impressive. Yeah, they didn't get to start the next day, but they never pulled off at the side of the road and peeled their numbers off. You had to take them off me.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah. And a lot of riders, Swain Tuft, we've spoken about him over the last few days. He's one of the guys that would never get freaked out about it. It's also an emotional thing. As a rider, you're on your limit, you start becoming emotional about it. Oh, I'm not going to make it. And that's even the worst thing you can do. Start panicking, you're getting dropped on the climb on your own. Swaino used to always go, you know what? You can always just ride, at least just get to the end of the stage, deal with it at the end of the stage. When you keep yourself calm and collected, that's when you start riding back into your groove and riding back on.
Swain Tufto was also a guy in his late teens, had to run away from an avalanche. So he's got perspective.
That's right.
Yeah.
Getting time delayed in a Giro is like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
This group is working well together. They're not running away from an avalanche, but they're running away from something nearly as hard to stop, and that's the Peloton.
Yeah, and they're not getting far, unfortunately, for them. So that gap continues to actually come down. So they're keeping them on a really, really tight leash.
The hound is in the spirit with the Maglia Rosa.
Yeah.
Tarozzi is on the front for the Bardiani team. It's been 10 years since Bardiani has won a stage in this race. The rider that won that stage for them in 2016 was Giulio Ciccone. Giulio Ciccone and Bardiani. It's been a similar Giro for them so far. A few near misses, they keep on trying, they keep on poking their head up, and they keep on looking for the break to win.
Well, they've been around as a team management for a long, long time, Bardiani, under various different sponsor names. It's credit to those teams that continue on. They operate on relatively small budgets.
Another good day for the pink jersey for Eulalio and his teammates at Bahrain victorious. For the last few days, they haven't had to do any work at the front of the peloton.
It's pretty good, isn't it, considering plenty of people predicted he'd lose it in the TT. He hung on to it by 20-odd seconds. And since then, he's had an easier day, or as hard a day as no more harder than his rivals. So, and he's still got the Maglia Rosa. So this is a massive, massive result for the young Portuguese rider.
De Vries is at the front for Unibet Rose Rockets. They're all in for Dylan Groenewegen. We saw yesterday, Wout Poels, he was sprinting for a spot inside the top 10 on the stage. In the individual time trial, they had Nicholas Larson. He finished in 10th position on the stage. For a team getting a wildcard invitation, they're important results. And they show that they're at the level to get invitations to other big races. They've also had a podium finish with Dylan. He's had a top 3 finish on a stage. He is capable of winning. But can he survive the climb? That is the big question.
Yeah, that's it. We don't know. Absolutely ramp up there. Barely any sprinter will get over either of those two climbs. So it just depends the mood of the peloton. I can't see Movistar just sitting and waiting, Mitch. And I see exactly what they did almost a week ago. If it comes down to this status quo, what we're seeing at the moment.
Well, if Movistar's not going to do it, I feel like Quick-Step are going to do it as well. Quick-Step, Soudal Quick-Step, because Manier climbs a little bit better than Milan and Groenewegen. So they want to put those guys in a bit of, maybe they're not going to completely distance them, but they want them a little bit stressed. They want them maybe feeling on the limit a little bit, because that's going to suit Manier a little bit better as well.
Is there the other possibility? It's 50-odd kilometres from the finish, that we see a fresh group of riders attack over the climb, non-GC, but strong riders. Your Jonathan Narvaez sort of type style of rider, potentially a couple of riders from EF, maybe one from Tudor. There's a couple of other teams in there as well. NSN, they've got some options today, but do we see a fresh group of riders attack? 50 kilometres to go. GC riders sit up. We've seen it before in the Giro. They've only got to win by 5 seconds. It can happen.
Well, I think that's, again, a more motivation for a team like Movistar to ride a good tempo up there. Because, that'll discourage a lot of people to attack if the pace is high. As soon as it props on the climb, we'll see a flurry of attacks.
Pretty comfortable for now, at least in the peloton, particularly for the riders who are well placed in the top 10 in the general classification. Eulalio leads. He's got a 27-second advantage over Jonas Vingegaard. Tymon Arensman is in 3rd position at 1:57. Felix Gall is the next best, followed by Ben O'Connor in 5th at 2:48. It's then Jai Hindley. He is 18 seconds behind him. Another 22 seconds further back is Michael Storer in 7th position. 8th is Derek G. Giulio Palazzari is 9th. Chris Harper rounds out the top 10 at 4:09. National champion of Ecuador has now won 5 stages in the Giro d'Italia, 3 of them this year. There he is at the back of the peloton, having a chat with his compatriot. We've got 4 Australians inside the top 10. The first Italian is in 9th position in the general classification. We've seen a rider from Uruguay win a stage. The globalisation of the Giro d'Italia is really stark when you look at the winners of the Giro and you look at what has been happening in this year's race. Between 1997 and 2007. So an 11-year period, every single winner of the Giro was Italian. In the past 11 editions, only one winner of the Giro has been Italian, Vincenzo Nibali.
It's amazing, and that figure you just propped, that's not that long ago, really, in the history of the race. That's fairly recent, but it's changed rapidly in the last, 10, 15 years. Yeah, for the better.
And a big part of that globalisation was the Australian Phil Anderson, not here at the Giro, but as the first non-European to wear the yellow jersey at the Tour de France.
Yeah, huge.
Him and Greg LeMond, they were a big part of that globalisation. The 7-11 team with Andy Hampston.
Steve Bauer, yeah.
Raul Alcala from Mexico.
Yeah, they were the modern, if we can say that, trailblazers, because they were trailblazers, they were pioneers, I call them, before that. But that era for us as English speakers and non-Europeans, they were the ones that we sort of went, wow, these guys, there was only a handful of them. We've reeled off the bulk of the guys that had the success in that period.
And for the Latin Americans, you had the Café de Colombia team, Lucha Herrera, Fabio Parra. It was a great generation.
It was a great time in the sport, wasn't it? And as teenagers growing up and, looking for inspiration, you didn't have to look far.
Well, just flashed up on the screen there it's actually at a UVEX index of 8 today. And for everyone, all the Aussies listening, just to understand what that is, when I was riding in Europe, rightly or wrongly, I never really wore sunscreen because the UV index was lower, and I felt like my skin would sort of just, as the summer came on, it got a bit of a layer on it, and you sort of could, it was protective enough. 8 index is quite high. Australia averages about 11, which is extreme. And in summer, you often see 14 to 17, which is very extreme in Australia. You realistically should have some protection over about 3 or 4. So I was obviously incorrect.
It's the best skincare product you can wear is sunscreen lotion.
Yes.
For all the expensive, this will take away the wrinkles. Wear sunscreen lotion. You're in business.
It's the only proven, actually. Grace Brown, she'll be happy to hear that. She's got a product, Sun Motion, out on the market. It's good too. I've got some, bought some, purchased some. But you're right, Mitch. It's true. I'd wear sun cream in Europe, but nowhere near as harsh as Australia. You could go out for 5 hours riding in most places in Europe throughout summer, and you'd survive. Imagine doing that in Australia. No way. You couldn't do it. You'd be red raw by day's end.
Leon Smith is at the back of the peloton, 105, one of the Kiwis in the race for NSN Cycling Team. Another one of the Kiwis is on that team, Corbin Strong. Corbin spoke before the start of the stage, and with that team, it could be a Corbin Strong day, it could be an Ethan Vernon day. They've got 2 cards to play. The bigger the group, the more likely it is to be Ethan Vernon. The more difficult it is on the climbs, the better the chances are for Corbin Strong.
And if it becomes an Ethan Vernon day, I would love to see Corbin Strong assist him in the lead out, which I haven't really seen so far. Maybe he has been assisting early on and I didn't get to see it, but Corbin Strong being a sprinter himself, I'd love to see him almost leading Vernon out.
What's their better option? Or what's the better outcome for them?
Well, I think realistically, the better outcome for them is a very hard finish with Strong.
Yeah.
I think if it is an easy finish, there's a lot of faster guys that Vernon has to compete with. When it's a hard finish, there's less sprinters. But, then that's the thing. Narvaez, he comes into play.
Where's his climbing ability, Vernon, against the other sprinters?
It's somewhere between Milan and Manier. It's around Milan.
So not great.
Yeah, it's not awesome.
Sorry, Milan.
No. But he's a sprinter. He's a pure sprinter.
Yeah.
With the regular wave hello from Jonas Vingegaard. We didn't really learn much about his form yesterday, but a lot has been analysed about his ride against the clock in the individual time trial. He said that it was very long, not his speciality, but he thought that he did pretty well. This guy did. He did really well, and he's been smiling the whole race. And he did well against expectations. He still lost a lot of time. He still lost almost 5 minutes on Filippo Ganna. He lost almost 2 minutes on Jonas Vingegaard, but he held onto the pink jersey, and that was the sole objective.
Well, it's really interesting. I'm glad you brought that up about Jonas Vingegaard and the GC sort of battle yesterday, because it was interesting that we saw net company Ineos come to the front and actually play a little bit of control. And he was asked at the finish about what they were doing. Jonas said, I don't know why Ineos, what they were trying to, test anyone today, because if they were trying to test someone, they should have made the pace a lot higher. They sort of really just went to the front. Was that about, testing on the descents? Did they want to make themselves safer? There's been some unusual crashes so far in this Giro. It was very technical yesterday. Was that about safety? Was it about putting pressure on the descents? Because they certainly didn't put the pressure on the climbs.
Well, Jack Hay from that team, he spoke to the cycling podcast after the stage yesterday, and he was asked the exact question. He said it was about protecting our spot at the front, not to attack. I think he's going to stay in pink at least until the end of Saturday. Also heard this morning from Geraint Thomas, who former second place finisher in this race, winner of the Tour de France, now working on the management side of things with the Ineos Grenadiers. He spoke about Jonas Vingegaard, and he said he would have expected him to have taken more in the individual time trial off his rivals, considering how he's performed in the past. He thinks that maybe everybody else is getting slightly better at time trials as well, and that is closing the gap. And it could be a bit of Jonas not 100% and others improving. I'm sure there's a little bit of all of it in there.
Yeah, it doesn't take much, does it? It's margins. We talk about marginal gains and margins. You've only got to be slightly off. His climbing, we know, ability is at its best. It looks like it's at its best for Jonas Vingegaard, probably for the last 2-3 years. This season for him has started exceptionally well. But his
time trial looked off in the Criterium Dauphiné last year. He lost a little bit of time on Jonas Vingegaard. Pogacar then...
Did they have a time trial in the Tour?
Yeah.
They did. Destroyed him in the time trials.
He got the better of his key rivals.
Yeah. Yeah, I think,
Obviously, Remco, well, he
won one of them, didn't he, Remco?
He was better in the time trial, but he was
a long way off on the climbs. Yeah.
And abandoned the race. Bastian's still at the front. We've got the ice socks out now for number 65. This is Jonathan Midland, one of the favourites for the stage.
And it'd feel a lot warmer, I believe, and it does generally. We talk about, the UV index, Mitch, but then even the temperature, like this time of the year around here, 23, 24 degrees. You think, oh, that's not too bad, that's pleasant, that's nice. Not much wind, though. It would actually feel, generally it does to me anyway, it feels warmer. The real feel would feel like 28 degrees. And then you'd see the gauge and say, it's only 23, but it does feel a lot warmer out on the tarmac, and it probably is on the tarmac as well.
I'm glad you brought that up, Macca, because look, I mentioned at the very start of the coverage that this region is really famous for its olive groves. Look, they're ancient. They've been planted. They've been here for hundreds, thousands of years. And the reason why they work so well here is because of the climate. It's quite consistent. It doesn't get very cold here. There's a low frost. And it doesn't get crazy hot either. And the sea regulates the temperature. The olives here, and I can't say this from experience, but apparently they're a lot sweeter and a lot more buttery. Then they don't have that peppery sort of taste that you would expect when you have olives. That's got to do with the soil here. It's actually lacking minerals, which is weird because it doesn't make the trees grow fast. It doesn't produce fast-growing trees. That makes them last longer. And this is what shapes this really weird coast here. It's been here. The actual coast is shaped from the trees that have been planted here for thousands of years. The Greeks planted them, and it's been so on and so forth. So I find that really interesting, and it's great. That's what sort of the characteristic of this coast along here, the Ligurian coast, is that climate. You mentioned before, produces great wine, great white wine too, Vermentino, which is beautiful to drink down here, especially if you're eating some of that seafood, Macca.
Love it. It is a lovely part of the world, and you talk about the climate. It's like Nice. 300 days of sun or something every year. It is a very consistent climate, and you're right, it doesn't get that real chill or a lot of frosts either. And and that's why a lot of riders, not the ones necessarily on the big contracts, but for many years, a lot of the expats would base themselves in Nice because great climate, mountains, plenty of great training roads out the back of Nice. Beachside, the Aussies loved it, the Brits loved it. We know that they can't rave about their climate. So yeah, for a long time, a lot of the expats would base themselves around here.
Here's two of the youngsters for UAE Team Emirates at the back. Number 194, that is Jan Christian. Off to his right, 192 is Igor Arieta, who again was active yesterday trying to get into the breakaway. He's already had a stage victory, and it was a stage victory that's going to be played on the highlights reels and news programs that don't normally cover cycling, because how do you crash once, miss a corner for a second, almost crash again and still win the stage?
Yeah, I literally watched. I wasn't working that first week with you guys, but I got up the next morning and I saw a reel. And I thought, okay, so I went back and watched the mini highlights on SBS On Demand, and I didn't know what had happened at the finish, and it was just like, what? Okay, he's going to win. Oh no, he's not. He's crashed. Okay, he's going to win. No, he's not. Yeah, that was one of those crazy. The last 6 kilometres. If you haven't seen it, go back and at least watch the last 6 kilometres.
And the good element of it was that the two key riders, they both got something out of it.
Yeah.
One the stage victory, and the other one, Ulalia, the pink jersey, and he's still there.
Yeah.
This is a beautiful town, Mitch.
It's fantastic around here. Look, we generally don't get enough time to really see it, or we don't get to see it in this kind of temperatures, because Milan-San Remo is raced on these exact roads that we're seeing here today. The Peloton probably looks like this in one long line, but they're going the other way, Mac. They're going the other way. They're getting themselves ready. They've just come off the cappy, so they've done the capos just in the background there, and they're coming down, getting themselves ready for the final run in to San Remo, which is the Cipressa, not too far away, probably about 25 kilometres from this location. The other way, though. But look, it is great to be down here. I remember I actually did the Milan-San Remo. That was in the COVID year, and we did it in August.
Yes.
So
yes.
I just remember that then we got to race on these roads in the peak of summer, and we got to see the crowds on all these roads were amazing, but it was people in bikinis going, what's going on here? There's a race on.
Yeah.
How different did it feel?
It felt really different, yeah, because the temperatures were 35, 38 degrees, very hot. It was the longest edition of San Remo in the modern year. It was 320 kilometres.
They changed, yeah. They also had to change a little bit of the course. They skipped some of the coastal.
The landslide.
But also the summer crowds.
That's
so
true.
they had to divert. The council said you can't race down here. It's too busy. And we know what it's like in summer along this coastline.
Here's a look at the power output from Juan Pedro Lopez, the rider from Movistar. The two at the front just had a conversation. Jardy Vanderlee in the greenish colours from EF, in the blue Jonas Jens. And I've no doubt, Mitch, that their conversation was, let's ease off, because the Peloton's got us under control. Let's play the game of cat and mouse with them. We can't maintain full throttle all the way to the finish. Let's see if we can get them to slow down.
Could have been that. It could have also been, what do you think of the area? Should we come back for a coffee maybe next week and do a bit of training down here? Yeah, I think, look, that's the way it works in breakaways. You know, you've got to be a team. Look, they're all having a chat here. Always in communication with each other. It's almost like a little mini team time trial until the point where they go, okay, let's race each other again. It's a weird scenario. It's hard to get your head around if you've never been a professional cyclist or never been a cyclist in that matter. Think, hang on a second, aren't they racing each other? But they've got to work together to get to the finish.
I always describe it like the reality TV show, Survivor. You form a strategic alliance with somebody, we're going to take you all the way through to the final three, and then you get voted off by your ally.
Yeah, exactly. That is exactly what it's like, isn't it? And you need that person to get to that point. And you both know, really, that then you're going to turn against each other at the end. Lopez there, he's pretty yappy in the peloton, and he's strategising. Just moments ago, the Movistar rider.
He's always been very talkative. He spent the first part of his career riding with the Lidl Trek team. Recently, he's moved across to Movistar. And he's got a great affinity with this race after the long stint that he had in the pink jersey. Very similar to what we're seeing this year with Afonso Eulalia.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's defined his career, Lopez, absolutely.
That is a quick-moving peloton. A lot slower than the start of yesterday's stage, but it's still not what you would classify as slow. The average speed is slightly north of 46 kilometres per hour. Another example of 4, 5 and sometimes 1,000-year-old architecture that we get to see. We've seen some examples a few thousand years old when we saw some of the Roman ruins that have been scattered throughout this year's Giro d'Italia. And back in Bulgaria, Mitch, with a town that dated back to 6000 BC.
It actually blew my mind, Bulgaria. Completely blew my mind. That I just struggled to get my head around that stuff is there. People just living in day-to-day age. And look how young Australia is, really. It's flipped me out. Still getting my head around it, honestly. I'll tell you one thing I wanted to discuss today was something we were pretty critical, I guess you could say, about Enric Mas yesterday coming into the finish. You know, what could he have done to beat Jonathan Narvaez? I heard an interview yesterday from Narvaez after the finish. You know, apart from talking about the early parts getting in the breakaway, one thing he pointed out was, I'm in the best mental condition of my career. My age, my experience, and my racing in Europe. Enric Mas put a lot of pressure on me on the climbs. I was almost on my limit, but then I put pressure on the descents. It's like this, no? It's about making your own game when you are not good at something else. Really interesting. I like the way that he speaks, but I almost want to call that he's just being very polite. I don't think Enric Mas had him on his limit. I don't know. I want to hear the opinion from you guys. And overnight, has that settled in with you? Do you think that Enric Mas could have played things differently? He was riding for second ultimately, but was he putting him on his limit, Macca?
Yeah, so I think there was an element, that last little kicker, I think he had him somewhere in the region of his limit, because Narvaez, you could see, suddenly was out of the saddle, just flapping a little bit, but he could see the top. He knew it was there. What Mas did poorly, I thought, there was zero element of surprise. So it was almost like he was putting the radar on, letting him know that he was going to surge. And generally you get that with some GC riders. The sprinter types are always craftier, or those opportunist riders like Narvaez. They're just craftier. They know when to launch the attack. They slip up the side, or the rider looks left, they head to the right. So I thought Mas's, his power was good, because we saw some data then at the end. So that was all good, and when he was surging, it was good. He was just effectively alerting Narvaez without that element of surprise. So that's what I thought he was poor at.
Yeah, and I feel like I agree with you actually on that side, Mac, is that I think it's been a long time since he's been in the race-winning situation, and riding as a right in. There's not a whole lot of tactical nous that needs to be played. But as you said, coming into a sprint or even in the classics positioning, it's something you do on a day-to-day basis. You've really got to think about it. And in the breakaway, it's even harder again, because you're just mano a mano. How am I going to outsmart this one rider here? So I think he probably walked away from that going, probably could have done that differently. But that's the learning experience. Unfortunately, when's it going to be his next chance? That's the thing with cycling. It's not like tomorrow, okay, I'm going to do that again. It could be another 4 years before he's in that situation.
And I'd love to have known what the discussion was post-stage with Matt White, with the directors. Was there anything said, or did they pat him on the back and say, oh, good job, mate? And absolutely they should say, great job. That was a great ride, because it was. But it also doesn't hurt for them to quietly on the side, it doesn't even have to be in the team meeting, just to say, look, we've rewatched the tape. Really, 6K to go, 5K to go. You actually should have been brutal and not given him a single turn. And because if you don't tell some riders, they'll never learn from that. So, I'd like to think that they would say to him, as experienced as Enric Mas is, So, listen, you probably weren't going to beat him yesterday, but you didn't give yourself the best chance either, and this is how we think you could have maybe enhanced his chances.
This is Andrea Misfad at the back. He is the one rider from Malta who is in the race. He was actually born and raised in Caen. His great-great-grandfather was Maltese, and that's how he's got the Maltese dual citizenship, and he's flying the flag for that country. My take on it yesterday with Enric Mas, he saw that if he was caught by the group behind, he still couldn't win because Ulysses was there were other quick finishes, and second was the best result that he could get no matter what the situation, so he wanted to lock in second.
He was guaranteeing himself of a podium in the stage.
Because he went across the finish line quite pleased with the second place result. And he's not a rider that has a habit of winning much. His last Grand Tour stage victory was 8 years ago.
And it's only one, correct? Yeah, that's it, yeah.
61.5 kilometres done, 115 kilometres remaining. We've got data coming through courtesy of Vallon, and we spoke just a moment ago about were they having a conversation out in front to ease it off. It turns out, yes, they were. The numbers don't lie. In the last few minutes, Juan Pedro Lopez out in the breakaway has been rolling through at the front at 250 watts, sitting in the slipstream of his breakaway companions at 180 watts. They've really backed off the pace out in front. The Peloton, they're taking a while to respond to that because the gap is down to 52 seconds. De Vries is on the front for Unibet Rose Rockets. The gap is back under a minute. They've still got 40 kilometres to go before they hit the intermediate sprint, and it's then that they're onto the base of the first climb of the day.
John Safran, filmmaker, troublemaker, is testing the limits of what Australians can say.
Do you watch?
Do I watch? And do.
I have a lifetime ban from YouTube.
What could possibly go wrong?
Release your power in the name of Jesus.
Don't act stupid. I don't think everything warrants free speech protection.
When we go to work, you're not allowed to say or do anything controversial.
I don't think you would get away with that one.
Shut your big fat mouth, John Safran. Sunday 7:30 on SBS and on demand.
Living with diabetes? Manage your glucose with a CGM that makes things easy. Dexcom gets you. We get that you want to easily monitor glucose levels. We get that you're working to stay in range day by day. And we get that you don't want to stop for finger pricks when you want to make a splash. Easy, accurate, with better health outcomes. Shop the Dexcom One Plus for people with type 2 diabetes or get Dexcom G7 subsidised for Australians with type 1 diabetes. Dexcom gets you. Get started at dexcom.com.au.
Crisp.
Light.
And refresh.
Oh! Yeah, can't wait for my surprise. Arms out and close my eyes. So exciting, so refreshing. Brace myself.
What?
Be refreshed. Refreshment activated.
Slice, sizzle, stir, and take a sneaky taste before you serve.
Look at that. Simple, easy, very quick.
Donald's going to show you how to make meals in minutes.
Luscious, gorgeous. It's only taken 30 minutes. Big on flavour, fast on prep, and totally satisfying. And all made in less than 15 minutes. Let's get cooking.
Donald's real-time recipes. Stream now on SBS On Demand. Slice, sizzle, stir, and take a sneaky taste before you serve.
Look at that. Simple, easy, very quick.
Donald's going to show you how to make meals in minutes.
Luscious, gorgeous. It's only taken 30 minutes. Big on flavour, fast on prep, and totally satisfying. And all made in less than 15 minutes. Let's get cooking.
Donald's real-time recipes. Stream now on SBS On Demand.
So Walker killed your brother now, that's your theory.
Are you gonna go after whoever did it?
I changed who we are. It's lose-lose for you, Harry. We get this wrong, the city could explode. Even if we get it right.
Bosch. Stream the first 4 seasons on SBS On Demand.
go again.
Got a bunch of fans calling my phone, say that I'm number one, yeah, I know. You can't get me off of my throne, nah. It feels like it's been worth the wait. You won't say a word when I show up.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup starts June 12, live and exclusive to SBS and on demand.
Making their way along the coastline at stage 12 of the Giro d'Italia, and the Peloton has got the message that the Breakaway group of 5 have decided to back it off and back off the pace significantly. The Peloton, they don't want to catch them yet. It's a game of cat and mouse in the middle of the stage. Very different to the one that we see at the finish when there's 2 guys going for a sprint to win the stage.
Yeah, yes, indeed. And if you're wondering, sitting at home, and as we've been saying, if you're relatively new to it or you're just not quite understanding the tactics, why do they not want to catch them yet? They don't want to catch them yet because that just opens it up for fresh attacks. Plus, then we're closer to home, or the race is closer to home, so there's more incentive for more attacks. So they just want to keep them dangling out there. And by doing that, by keeping them far enough out, but not too far, it stops any other attacks because they're controlling the front of the peloton. But they've just got them. They've got them on a string, and they're controlling the narrative at the moment, the peloton. So it is a real game of cat and mouse that we're seeing.
Don't worry about the wattage output. How about the speed? The peloton, through the tunnel, they were rolling along at 32 kilometres per hour. 20 k's per hour slower than a lot of yesterday's stage across the first hour. I've seen this graphic a half a dozen times already, recognised as one of Italy's most beautiful villages. We've seen a lot of them in this year's Giro.
Well, look, one thing about that water there, you see that coastline there? We're heading up to Savona, and it holds the record for the most blue flag beaches. Macca, do you know what a blue flag beach is?
No, you've got me there.
Well, blue flag beach is awarded significantly higher water quality, so sustainable land management and top-tier accessibility. So they rate the beaches in colours of flags. And if you get a blue flag, that means you've got really good water quality. You can access the beach. You know, it's the management of the land around it. It's got the most amount of blue flag beaches in this area. Wow. That's why we're seeing this amazing coast along here. And this region is, if you want to come down and hang out on an Italian beach, this is the Ligurian coast here is where you want to come.
It's pretty good, isn't it? Yeah.
The Breakaway, they're in cruise mode. They're having a conversation. Number 84, Mitch Docker, Juan Pedro Lopez. He really burst onto this scene in 2022 in this race.
Yeah, he was up in the top 10 on GC. And look, he's a guy that, you know, he was a real fan of the sport. I remember racing against him in when he first came into the peloton. So much of a fan that even when he was riding next to Chris Froome, he was asking for selfies with him at the end of the stage. Asking if he could swap gloves with him, those little things, and that shows you that how much he's matured over those years. And he's probably got riders coming up to him now, or young fans asking him for the same thing. So it's funny that you see that. Look, we even saw that with Pellizzari, you know, with Pogacar a couple of years ago in the Giro d'Italia, asking for his glasses, and you know, ultimately Pogacar gave him the leader's jersey afterwards.
And I liked that moment with Pellizzari and Tadej Pogacar. That was a cool moment.
Yeah, yes, I do remember that now, and it is great.
Number 92, Tymon Arensman. He sits in 3rd place overall. He was 2nd in the individual time trial. His big objective is a spot on the podium. Geraint Thomas, who is the performance manager with the squad, he picked Arensman before the start of the Giro to finish 3rd overall, ahead of his teammate Egan Bernal. So far, he's right on that count. Can Arensman hold on to a top 3? Can he even challenge to win? It'd
be a great story, wouldn't it, the podium for Arensman? It's been a journey, and there was a period where you thought he's going to leave Ineos, the team, and it's not working out. He's not living up to, you know, their high expectations of him and maybe the fans as well. But no, it's been a real journey. I mean, he had that great stage win at the Tour. Was that last year? I think it was. Yeah, he's really coming of age.
But once again,
2 wins. He had a mountaintop finish in the Pyrenees and one in the Alps.
Yeah, which one am I thinking of? The shrouded Pyrenees. Yeah.
Aronsman's one of those riders, and we spoke about this. This is a team that's in a funny situation now. Picnic NL Post. Aronsman, he came through that team. Team DSM, it was known then. They picked him up. It was Team Sunweb that gave him a stagiaire back in 2020. And, you know, they saw the talent in him. And this is what they're very good at. And unfortunately, the last few years, all the teams are becoming much better at it. You know, there's lots of teams now, if not every team, I've got riders specifically doing talent scouts. One of the riders, one of my old teammates who retired last year, Michael Hepburn, has stepped into that role at Red Bull Bora-Hansgrohe. He is now a talent scout. So he goes out, he goes to the smaller races, he looks at the new talent coming through. He also DSs with the development team to understand the young riders as well. That's part of his job. Another teammate of mine, Sebastian Langeveld, is the talent scout on EF Easy Post. So they go down to the races, they look at the new talent, they talk to the parents, they understand it's not only about if they're winning that race, what have they done to get there? Are they already at their limit, or have they come there on natural talent?
Yeah.
They're looking for those ones that are winning races or doing well on natural talent, and they've still got a lot of room to grow.
Without the sports science, without the wind tunnel testing, it's really interesting, isn't it, how much the sport has evolved in that respect.
And sometimes there's riders who get through the net and they don't get their opportunity until much later on. And here's one of them now. This is Bastian's at the front for Soudal Quickstep. At 29, he's making his debut in a Grand Tour. So talent scouting, Mitch, is their role just about the next young star, or do they also include the more experienced campaigners? In a moment, we'll talk about that. First and second from yesterday. Second nearest the picture, Enric Mas. On the far side, it is Jonathan Narvaez. Great respect shown between both of them when they went across the finish line yesterday, and particularly from Narvaez towards Enric Mas in the post-race interview.
Yeah, and that's interesting. I didn't realise that. Second oldest stage podium with an average of 32 between those three yesterday. Ulysses, of course, rounding out the top three.
But that age is probably a pretty standard age for a podium historically in cycling. It's just been skewed by Remco, Tadej Pogacar, a guy like Juan Ayuso when he was 19 and finished third in the Volta de España a few years back. And now he's at number 4 at the back of the group here, Jonas Jens. He didn't ride his first bike race until about 4 years ago at 23. He was in athletics up until then. He had some knee injuries, like Grace Brown. The best knee injury in the history of Australian cycling was Grace Brown whilst she was a middle distance runner.
It was great, wasn't it?
But Jonas Jens is a similar situation. He's now 27, riding a Grand Tour for the first time. So Alan Hatherley, who you spoke about earlier, Mitch, he's been on a mountain bike, different discipline within cycling, but this guy's come from a completely different sport.
Well, if that's in reference to the talent scout, I don't think he was scouted necessarily by one of those guys. I think, from what I understand, they're looking for young riders to come in. They really are going to those under 23, well, even younger now, the under 19 amateur races, and looking for the talents coming through. But it's the sports directors, the main big sports directors, that are looking at outside of that. They look at the older riders, anyone who's maybe been dropped from a World Tour team. Is there something we can change with them? Are they missing something, or coming from a different discipline? Like, that's something that Jaco Alula, old Green Edge, have done before. Nino Schurter, and we spoke about this the other night. He was a rider that they tested with. This is, in those days, very foreign. Of course, we've seen riders in the recent years cross back and forth, but Nino Schurter in that time, in the early 2014, 2013, it was very foreign that he was riding a mountain bike, a world-class mountain bike, a riding road.
And we're also seeing some of the teams, particularly looking at Scandinavian athletes from biathlon and cross-country skiing, and trying to make that transition as well.
Yeah, and I think we had this sort of a similar chat last year, Mitch, and you said, in my day, and probably a little bit less in yours, when you were trying to be a professional, you'd hand them your race CV with your list of results. Here's my CV. This is what I've won. Here's my top 10s and yada, yada, yada. Now you hand them, if you've got some big wins, great, but you're handing them your science data, your power, your 5 second, your 20 second, your 3 minute, your 5 minute. So there's a lot of that, isn't there? And we've, the examples are great examples. At least one, Jay Vine. He had a clear goal of becoming a professional cyclist. COVID hit, he said, okay, there's no National Road Series happening. How can I do it? There's Zwift Academy. So he went, right, this is how I'm going to do it. And he obviously was already training as a new cyclist with data, but that was his pathway into the professional ranks, which in my era, that was unheard of. I mean, completely unheard of. It would be a crazy decision by a team to sign someone off the back of that. Whereas now it's the norm, isn't it?
It is funny to think about that, Macca, because I think, like, you know, even in our time there was testing. And you still went to the lab every year and you did testing.
And power meters, they existed, but no one really took them. Not too many took them too seriously.
Well, that's the funny thing. I was just thinking about it then. I've never thought about it until now. Why did they not call, you know, BS on your results if you couldn't push the power? They didn't. They believed that you had a better racecraft. And that's what it was about. I specifically remember one of my teammates, a Dutchman, Kenny Van Hummel, you know, he couldn't go up a bridge over a river, but he could win a race. And he was so crafty about slipping through the wheels. He wasn't the strongest rider at all, but he could win. And it didn't matter if he pushed 200 watts and won, and I pushed 500 watts and got 10th. He was the best. It wasn't about data. So I'm wondering whether the pendulum will swing eventually and come back to more about racecraft as the playing field becomes very even at the top again.
Well, the Peloton, they're doing their best to try and even out the distance between them and the Breakaway. They've backed off the tempo once more, but there's now attacks coming out of the Peloton. Uno X Mobility, they have missed the move. Likewise, Groupama FDJ, Intermarché, Lotto Intermarché with Jonas Rush. Soudal Quickstep, they're making sure that they're represented. This is race on yet again.
This is great, and it's a bit earlier than what I expected, but it's what I said before about, do we see the attacks on the two climbs from opportunists, fresh legs, fresh bodies, and teams that aren't represented out in front, or teams that are represented out in front. So this is really good. This is what the race needed. This is what the stage needed. And you at home, the fans, if you're sticking with us. And look at that scenery. This is as good as it gets, isn't it? This coastal road.
It's beautiful to watch. It's tricky to race, but this is another classic day in the Giro d'Italia. They're 29 kilometres away from Estella and the intermediate sprint. And the intermediate sprint also signifies the start of the first of the categorised climbs. It's Cat 3 climb and it goes for 11 kilometres. The race is changing shape once again. Mikel Biao at the back for UAE Team Emirates. They've had a great Giro so far. 5 stage wins already for them. Along the coast for a beautiful backdrop and another classic Giro d'Italia stage. Hello and welcome to everybody in WA joining us for stage 12 of the Giro d'Italia. The situation is a breakaway of 5 riders, a reaction coming from the Peloton, and the chase is now on. Matthew Keenan with you, joined by David McKenzie and Mitch Docker. And Macca, the leading group of 5, they've been cruising along the Peloton, they've been waiting for the climbs to start, and others have changed their mind. They've got a different plan.
Oh, don't we love it? And for everyone in WA, you're just joining us. You've joined at a good time, because there was a little bit of a Sunday stroll along the coastline. It has been for the last hour or so. And just in the last few minutes, we've seen this counter-attack off the front. I certainly didn't expect it. I don't think Mitch, Matt, you expected it. And this has just livened the race back up here. And it's Uno X Mobility who've just got a little bit restless. They've lost their sprinter yesterday. They've got no one in the break out in front. They're about to be caught, though, so this is really good. This just changes the race now.
Well, I want to think that the Breakaway regret now going so easy. They played the bluff with the Peloton. Yes, the Peloton kept them too close, but the Breakaway played too much of a bluff. Now there's going to be a huge group across with them. Will they like that? Will they be happy to have extra members out there or not?
Well, now it is the general classification teams that are at the front. It is Visma Lease Bike and Net Company Ineos, and they're not interested in controlling the breakaway. They don't care if today is a sprint finish or it is a breakaway that wins the stage. They're biding their time, saving their energy. They're looking forward to Saturday and a big day in the mountains. So if the teams, the sprinters, want control of this stage, they need to get back on with the job at hand. Here are the leaders. They're about to be caught. Tarozzi swings off. It's now Lopez who goes through. Next in line is Jans of Alpecin Premier Tech, charging through. Here are the leaders. They're about to be caught. Forward
to ease up here, and I'm not talking about this group, well, this group as well, but the front, and I just saw a couple of riders just skipped a turn because the Peloton, we saw that long, thin line, so there's a chase in earnest. They've got to commit for just 10 minutes at least here, full gas, and you can see they swing off. They can't afford to pause at all. They pause, they lose a few seconds each time, and the Peloton then get them back in their sights. They've got this winding, twisting road. It suits a breakaway to just get away, get 30 seconds out of sight, out of mind.
Johan Jacobs is there again for Groupama FDJ. He was very active early in the race. Sturven, Van den Bosch are also there for Soudal Quickstep. They've got two. Bias is out there for Polti, De Vries and Cubis are there for Unibet Rose Rockets. Lavic is out there for Uno X Mobility. Oh, they're going to have to get themselves organised in a real hurry.
Yeah, it's almost too big now for this break to really work, because look how many passengers there want to be. A couple of these riders at the back thinking, oh, I'm just going to get a free ride along here. But that is what is going to cause this break to get caught again, because they need to really commit and roll through all of them.
But they're not. Jacobs again going to the front. He was one of the most aggressive riders at the start of the stage. 15 riders out in front.
Yeah, they've got to... They can't be attacking each other. I mean, this is the original... This is the group that needed to go away originally. The size, the composition, and it would have worked. But because it's 97 kilometres to go and they've jumped, the Peloton are like, nah, this isn't how the strip works, fellas. You don't just sneak off cheekily. Now we're going to bring you back. Sprinters teams, they're like, no, this is not how we, thought this would play out. So we're going to chase you back here.
Well, Jacobs, he's going again. Once again in that really distinctive style that doesn't look like he's pushing the pedals, but all of a sudden he's got the huge gap here on this tiny little rise. What an amazing effort here.
It's Jardy Vanderlei who is with him from EF Education Easy Post. Yet again, it's really playing into the favour once more for Bahrain victorious with the pink jersey of Afonso Eulalio. The best placed rider up at the front is Juan Pedro Lopez at 20 minutes and 26 seconds down.
This has been perfect for Bahrain ever since that TT, and he held onto the jersey as a team. And domestiques for him, they haven't had to be sitting on the front, pulling turns for 100 kilometres.
I like that kilometre marker, 1926, the establishment of the Italian Trade Agency. This is Pedersen. He's one of two riders for Decathlon who's made the split. Now what's happening in the Peloton? NSN. They have two contenders today, depending on how hard it is on the climbs. They've got Ethan Vernon, who was top 3 on stage 1. They've got Corbin Strong, who was unlucky with a crash on stage 2.
This is a perfect scenario for Bahrain victorious. A free ride. They're getting another team to do the work for them. By NSN missing the breakaway.
If you're one of Eulalio's teammates, you're loving life at the moment, aren't you? You've got your mate, you've got your man in the Magliarosa. You're leading the world's second biggest bike race, and you haven't had to put your nose on the front yet.
You are rubbing your hands together. They are narrow handlebars at the front, maximising aerodynamics. They'll be right on the limit, Mitch, those handlebars.
Yeah, he looks really nice, doesn't he? Jacobs here, he's just settling into his pace and he's holding all the riders off. Once again, very deceptive how hard he's going. It looks like he's on a Sunday cruise.
NSN, they're going to close this up here. Maybe not to the 3 out in front. That's okay. They can manage that. It's this attacking group, counter-attack move, so they're about to close it up. So they haven't messed around, and that's what you've got to do. You can't have time to have a committee meeting. You've got to make split decisions very quickly, and that is exactly what they've done, and danger averted.
With the length of the Peloton now, everyone is stretched out. They really did a good job there, NSN.
And the attacks come in again for Alpecin Premier Tech. Bardiani responding.
It's not over yet. Now they can find themselves in the same situation if they don't apply a bit of control here at the front.
Yeah, and this is that's what's happened now. It's woken up the Peloton again, woken up the opportunists who are sort of sitting there maybe a little bit restless. So now teams like NSN have to decide, okay, 90-odd kilometres to go. Are we prepared to sit on the front? Are we prepared to sit on the front all the way now to the base of these climbs and potentially after that?
Well, the moment there that Jacobs went, and Vanderlei probably wishes he'd fought a little bit harder to stay in his wheel. Maybe he didn't have a choice, but he was right there in Jacobs' wheel, and now he's found himself chasing off the back.
And Jacobs wants company. He needs somebody with him, Mitch. This is no good for him out in front on his own.
It isn't any good, but I understand why he has pushed on with it, because as soon as you sit up, the Peloton is right there. He really needs to establish this. The Peloton do want a breakaway gone, but they just want a small one that they can control.
And we talked about Jacobs at the very start, and now we see the way he's style on the bike. I feel like he's not going to get reward for effort today. I'm not saying he's not attacking at the right time. This is good, but both times he's been off the front on his own. He wants riders out there with him. He's looking strong. He's barely any movement in the body on the bike, expressionless. So he looks the goods, and it's like his attacks are just happening at the wrong time, and he's not getting those 4 or 5 riders immediately across to him. So, and that can be frustrating when you're having a great day. You're not a prolific winner as a professional cyclist. These days don't come around often, do they, Mitch?
No, they don't. Look, he's sat up now. That's the right move, because you can see the break is established. 3 more riders coming across, and all of a sudden we've got a group of 6 again.
Frederik Drafness is the rider there from Uno X Mobility. Jonas Rusch in the red colours for Lotto Intermarché. Number 4, Jonas Jens, who's been in the day-long breakaway so far. Likewise, at number 48, that is Jardy Vanderlei at the back of the group And Tarozzi there again from Bardiani. He's been outstanding for Bardiani, making sure that they're at the front every time a significant break goes. Now, does this group settle in and become the new break of the day? Part of the old break, part of the new break. They've formed the second break.
Yeah, that was it was a good move by Uno X. They started it, and credit to them, they've got one here, so that's good. Probably would have been better if it was that 10 or 15 odd riders. Actually, their chances probably of staying away to the finish would have been highly enhanced because of the composition. More teams represented, but NSN just obviously missed it, and they did the right thing because they've got a two-pronged attack today.
And the Peloton slows down once again. They're happy with 5 riders off the front, 6 riders off the front. They can control that. So the teams of the sprinters are trying to settle it one more time, but the reactions are continuing. You've seen the way they've spread across the road. They're trying to block it, they're trying to slow it, but the attacks keep on coming.
It's, as a spectator and for us as commentators, this is a really good part of the race now because the base of the climb is less than 20 kilometres away. The 2 climbs of the day then come in succession, and then of course it's only 50 kilometres to go from the top of the second climb. So I feel like now it's going to be on all the way to the base of the climb, and I just can't help but think, guys, this is not going to be a day for the pure sprinters now. I feel like we're going to see the opportunistic climbers go on the surge. Maybe a rider like Corbin Strong, Ular from Movistar. I feel like it's going to be that type of rider that is going to shine today.
Can Jonathan Narvaez win again?
Yeah, we all know he can. Absolutely.
I think he's got one more in him, whether it's today or another day. He's got another stage in him. He just didn't look like out of his depth yesterday.
It's almost disrespectful to the race if he wins 4 in the first 12 days. That'd be a third of the victories.
It's been an incredible tour for UAE. Given all the drama and disappointment with the nasty crash on stage 2, they've bounced back in a big way. Out in front, the best placed rider in the general classification is Tarozzi at 1 hour and 26 minutes behind. Again, the scenario could not possibly be better for Bahrain victorious in the pink jersey of Afonso Eulalio.
Well, they're just outside 15 kilometres before this climb, and that's probably the only place there that they might decide to take a little bit of tempo, just to sort of keep a slow tempo on that climb. Or they may see another team start taking tempo over there. You know, the Movistars, we've spoken about them. They've now missed this group. They had one there before with Lopez, but now since, oh, what a bottleneck that is.
Yeah, there'll be a slingshot out the other side, the elastic band, the Movistar rider. There at the rear on the right, he's got 2 or 3 feed bags.
That aerial shot was one of the best examples we've seen of a bottleneck in a bike race.
It was, wasn't it? And skill of the riders to just squeeze in. Sorry, I've just got to have a laugh. It would be funny if Narvaez won. It'd be almost like he's mocking the parkour, saying, what, you thought you'd created a hard parkour? Well, I've just won a third of your stages.
So what's the scenario for Narvaez to win the stage?
Well, yeah, it's a good question. And in all seriousness, he can win. We know that. I think it's got to be a group of 15 or 20, Mitch, that goes away probably on the first climb and then gets established, and then Narvaez survives with, 4 or 5 riders and outsmarts them or outsprints them.
Well, I don't think he's going to get dropped by anyone. The climbs aren't long enough here today. I can't see any GC team going crazy up these climbs. It's probably the only scenario where he would get dropped. He's realistically in the 20 best climbers in the race. So are we going to see a day where there's only 20 riders left? No. I think we may see a day where there's, like stage 4 when Movistar went, potentially where there's 40 riders. Narvaez is picking his nose when there's 40 riders. He's comfy, and then he's going to wrap the sprint up, as we saw him do, by 2 or 3 bike lengths against Ular.
Yeah. So that was, obviously I wasn't working that week, so that was Narvaez's first stage win. Yeah. It's got his name written all over it, hasn't it?
It was an uphill drag on that occasion, and it's an uphill drag of 2.5% today.
I
This is Simone Gualdi from Lotto Intermarché. Good news for him is one of his teammates, Jonas Rush, is now in the breakaway. Gualdi was good yesterday. Josh Kench is the rider in the blue colours for Groupama FDJ.
Sorry to end up, but I think a better question is how does Narvaez not win today?
How do his rivals get the better of him?
I think it's making it not so fast on the climb. Honestly, it's an easier climb where we see a lot more sprinters there, faster guys who can match him, and we see a bunch of 60 riders get over the top with the Manier maybe, or actually one rider we haven't even spoken about is Lund Andersen. He's a guy who can actually climb a little bit, and he's fast. So what about Silva? Our first pink jersey from Astana. So he's also quite quick. We haven't spoken about him.
And Astana, they don't have any pressure on them because they've already won a couple of stages. They've got Scaroni well placed in the general classification. Guillermo Thomas Silva is a man that I've got the green highlighter pen on. He is definitely going to be one rider to watch. And the stage win for Ballerini a few days ago was in a scenario where he was working for somebody else. He was working for Matteo Malicelli, but he got caught up in the crash. So then Ballerini made the most of it. He got the win ahead of Jasper Stuyven. So the new Breakaway, which includes some of the old Breakaway, is now out to lead of 1:15. They're within 15 kilometres of the intermediate sprint and the first climb of the day. The race has taken on another complexion.
This is my grandmother.
Essie Davis discovers a colourful family history.
What? I literally come from a den of babes.
Who do you think you are? Tuesday, 7:30 on SBS and on demand.
Si tu veux faire tomber Carlotti, il va falloir que tu joues le jeu. On aborde ça comme une enquête alors que c'est une guerre.
Ils veulent jouer. On va jouer.
The Corsican Line, stream free on SBS on demand.
We have a problem. We've received the complaint about
the Giro d'Italia, and the crowd has come out in huge numbers. These are the sorts of volumes of spectators that are normally reserved for the mountains. They love their cycling here.
They certainly do. Beautiful day, great weather, very highly densely populated area, especially in the summer months, and they're right on the edge of the holiday period in Italy. School holidays pretty much begin in the first week of June, so not too far away, but they're already getting a taste of it.
They're getting a taste of ideal weather. 25 degrees today, fine and sunny. Not much wind to contend with either. Gap now out to a minute and 44 seconds to the leading group of 6. The Peloton is beginning to pick up the average speed once again. It looks like a procession almost for some parts of today's stage. Average speed is still 46 kilometres per hour.
Yeah.
That has never felt like a procession.
No, that's right. And look, pretty fast roads along the coast here, but what that counter-attack that Uno X started 10 or so kilometres back, it's just made the sprinters and their teams nervous because things were going perfectly. They were in complete control, small group out in front. I truly think now a lot of those teams would be saying, okay, we've got to get ready for plan B because I don't think our sprinters are going to make it. We're going to have attacks happening on these climbs.
And all of that, Mitch Docker, to keep in mind with 4.5 kilometres to go to the start of the climb.
Well, exactly that. They've just turned away from the coast now. They've just made that left-hand turn and started heading inland towards Stella. And this is where we see that combination between the mountains and the Ligurian coast. That beautiful mix. If you want to talk about the culture, this is where the food and the wine and everything gets really interesting. But for these guys, it's going to get interesting in their legs. This is where the stage is going to completely change, I think. We're going to see things really get interesting. We've got category 11 kilometre category 3 climb. It's 4%. That length is going to make it hard for the sprinters. It's the length of climbs that makes it hard for sprinters, not necessarily the gradient. Of course, when it gets 10%, sprinters' mindset is go deep, get over it. When it becomes 11 kilometres, they can't see the top mentally.
It's really hard to break that down, eating the elephant one bite at a time. Matt Heyman, who we often reference in commentary about perseverance and just keep on riding, he would count to himself in the high mountains in Grand Tours, just one pedal stroke at a time. If I think about the whole challenge that I've got in front of me, it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge here for the sprinters, Mitch, is to break it down into bite-sized pieces.
Yeah, that's right. Well, what Heyman used to do, he'd count down from 10. And once he'd finished, got down to 0 again, you know, he might have passed that moment of, you know, giving up or getting over it, and you'd be able to get out of that overwhelming bit and you'd start counting down from 10 again. Durbo used to do the same thing. Well, probably still does the same thing. So it is a mental game. Look, we're going to see that with the sprinters. Look, I personally hope that we see a bit of a race over these climbs and a bit of pressure put on these teams.
This is the team that's going to be under the most pressure, speaking of that word, Mitch. It is Unibet Rose Rockets. They're working for Groenewegen. De Vries is the rider with the water bottle in his mouth who's been doing the pacemaking at the front. Matisse Kopecki and Thomas Kopecki. Lucas Kubas is the Slovakian national champion. Nicholas Larsen was 10th in the individual time trial, so he plays an important role. Wout Poels, he's the rider with the jersey partly unzipped, drifting backwards. He can't help once they get to the sprint, but he can help on the climb. And he's helping before the climb by collecting water bottles. They then have the lead-out rider, Almer Reinders. And Mitch, as much as we're talking about getting Groenewegen over the climb, the lead-out rider's got to get over the climb too.
They do. There's nothing worse if you're a lead-out man. You get dropped for your sprinter. That's a pretty disgraceful move. I can say it does happen. I can speak from personal experience. Working with a guy like Michael Matthews, it's pretty difficult to get over the climbs with him. But, you know, look, the interesting here, as you saw there, it's funny coming into a climb and you see all the sprint teams at the front.
Yeah.
I saw Picnic NL Post moving up there with Casper Van Uden. You see also Soudal Quickstep lining up. We saw NSN. They're all getting to the front. What they're trying to do, it's the same theory as the breakaway. Block the front of the road. Don't let any attackers come past. One team we haven't seen at the front, which we anticipated might put the pressure on, is Movistar. Nowhere to be seen as of yet.
Yeah, and they were active early with Lopez in the first breakaway of the day. This is a spectacular garden. There's a lot of work on that one. That's not just mowing the lawns on a Sunday in spring.
Yeah, that is in immaculate condition, isn't it?
It's probably, it's definitely half a Saturday and a Sunday, I think, that one.
Got to get the podcast out. Listen to Life in the Peloton while you're taking care of that garden on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. Listen to the whole catalogue on that. Jeez.
What's the next big episode we've got to look forward to?
Well, in all tune of the Giro d'Italia, we released an episode yesterday with Matteo Trentin, a professional rider, an Italian professional rider, great professional rider. He's ridden on some awesome teams, rode on Jaco Alula, which was known as Green Edge then. He's ridden on Quick Step, rode with Tom Boonen when he started his career, 16 years pro. That episode just came out now. He's actually riding on Tudor Pro Cycling, coming back from a broken collarbone, which he did in the Tour of Flanders. I caught up with him a couple of days before the Tour of Flanders over in Kortrijk. It's a lot of fun. Look, I watched it back myself, and he's a really good, honest guy. He doesn't hold back. So go and check that one out, everyone. It's just up online now, Life in the Peloton, and you'll get a bit of Italian flavour from one of the great guys in the Peloton now.
First 2 hours in this current peloton, the rider at the front, Jari van der Lee, has been averaging 30 watts more than Lucas Kubis back in the peloton, and those two guys are a similar stature, they're a similar weight, so it's a really good reference point. It is easier in the peloton, but with these speeds and along this terrain, I thought the gap would have been even bigger between the break and the peloton.
Yeah, it's well, they're sort of getting themselves back organised, aren't they? Back in the bunch, that is. And they've let this drift out probably a little bit more than what they wanted to, for the sprinters teams at least. But still, it's not a big group, so they'll be confident that they can drag them back in due course. But it's changed, hasn't it? The race has changed now. You can just tell the mood is different.
And the gap is out to 2 minutes. Van der Lee with the team car up alongside him. It's been a while since they've been able to get the team cars up here. Unibet Rose Rockets, they're doing the chasing further back as the climb is about to start. One of the riders from that team, Lucas Kubis, looking at his data over the last 20 minutes or so, he's had spikes of over 1,000 watts responding to the attacks. Meanwhile, Paul Magnier, the sprinter for Soudal Quickstep, he hasn't had many spikes at all. He's just been sitting in the peloton, following the wheels and saving energy, and he's been averaging 200 watts so far. Wow. And that's the experience of a sprinter who knows how to move around the peloton really comfortably. It wouldn't be an issue for him surfing the wheels and keeping the watts nice and low. This is going to be the test for them now. The next 20 kilometres, they've got to get through these climbs. These 2 Category 3s, more or less back-to-back. Not much of a descent, and they're straight into the next Category 3. This is De Vries at the front for Unibet Rose Rockets. When the race did split, he was in the breakaway group. There's Magnier now. You can see the Chiclamina jersey. The white colours are Soudal Quickstep, and then the purplish jersey, that is Paul Magnier. He's been the winner of 2 stages, both of them in Bulgaria. He has not yet won a stage of the Giro in Italy.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it?
Just like Marcel Kittel. He's won 5 stages of the Giro, none of them in Italy.
None of them in Italy. Yeah, it's amazing. Well, they're about just under 4 kilometres now to the intermediate sprint. You can see there's Stella. That's effectively halfway up this Category 3 climb, so it's a little bit cruel, isn't it?
And with the composition of this breakaway, all the points for the intermediate sprint are with the breakaway. There's none left on offer back in the peloton. So that simplifies it, certainly for the sprinters chasing the Chiclamina jersey points.
Yeah, it does, and yeah, they won't be too interested in it either. Really, their minds and focus now is about surviving these 2 climbs. If they get over the top or close enough and they've got teammates around them, they'll be confident that they can get back with that 50 kilometres to go across the top of the last climb.
Well, the peloton has just gone through Savona. This is where the E-Giro started. So they did the last 85 kilometres of the stage, and they saved themselves for the toughest 85 Ks of the stage. Yeah, well, lucky they're on the e-bikes. It is the toughest 85 kilometres of the stage. I'd almost argue all 2,000 metres of this stage were in that last 85 kilometres. Couple of 100 metres for the start, so to make up the 2-2, and it's, yeah, these guys on the E-Giro, this is the way to do the Giro, isn't it, Macca?
Oh, nice way to do it. And even they get plenty of celebs and ex-pros. Andrea Taffi, of course, in the green jersey there.
You should have got the call up, Macca. Ex-stage winner.
Been waiting, yeah. think it might have to wait another 5-10 years, you know. The 2000s, they're not in the 2000s yet. That's the 90s.
You've got to chuck on another 15, 20 kegs, mate. That's the problem. You're too fit.
Yeah.
They won't like your company out there. And now we're seeing some movement within the peloton. You both alluded to this. Unibet Rose Rockets, who have been controlling to this point, they've been shuffled back. But it's not just the teams of the sprinters. To the right of the screen, the yellow colours of Visma Lisa Bike for Jonas Vingegaard. The white, is that UAE? Is this, no, it's not, it's Movistar. Initially from above, I thought maybe it's UAE coming forward with Jonathan Narvaez. But this is Ivan Garcia Cortina, who is at the front, followed by Enric Mas, and they're doing the job for Ular. But they've got to stop that guy, Paul Magnier. He leads the points classification, but closing now at just 19 points behind is Jonathan Narvaez, followed then by Jonathan Milan, Manuela Torozzi. Torozzi's in the breakaway. At the intermediate sprint, Torozzi will go for the 12 points for sure.
He should take them, shouldn't he? Yeah, that's well picked up, Matt.
Well, stage 4, Movistar, they turned to the screws to get rid of the sprinters. They're about to come out and play again.
Well, it's deja vu. Look who it is. It's Ivan Garcia Cortina on the front, and right behind him is Lorenzo Malessi. And Malessi was the one who did the damage. He rode predominantly the whole climb. But you know the thing I'm noticing here? Everyone's not getting caught out this time. I don't think anyone could believe Movistar could do it on stage 4. A lot of riders got caught out. Even Egan Bernal was dropped by Malessi. Who would ever have thought that? All the GC teams are at the front. They're like, hang on, we cannot. Movistar are a team not to be underestimated.
A whole new level of respect has been found in the peloton for Movistar by comparison to the last couple of years. They've taken this race with a fresh, aggressive attitude.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how hard this climb is. Are they going to do much damage here? Still 75 kilometres to go, so they've hit the front, fair way out.
It's 8 kilometres to the top of the climb. 1.4 kilometres to the intermediate sprint. 8 kilometres to the top of the climb. It's not much of a descent afterwards.
No, and just having a quick look at the profile, the opening 3 kilometres, very shallow indeed, 2%. So that's pretty much still what they're on at the moment, almost 3%. The middle section is the hardest, apart from the last sort of 500 metres. That jumps up to 6% and then sort of, 5.5, 6. So that's where some damage can be done. And then right near the top, there's a little bit of a spike. So they're going to test, well, they're certainly going to try and offload the sprinters, and they don't want to wait and risk it for the final climb. There's the man, though, yesterday's stage winner. No stress for him. He's sitting at the back of the peloton. He's not concerned at all. He's got 3 in the bag, and he'll just sit and wait and see what unfolds ahead of him.
Also at the back for Red Bull was Nico Denz. He's been suffering on the climbs at this year's Giro, Nico Denz. This is Torozzi from Bardiani at the front. He swings off inside the last kilometre before they get to the sprint. Dravnes is the next one through from Uno X Mobility. Jacobs coming to the front in the red and blue colours. In the all red for Lotto Intermarché, that is Jonas Rusch. In the blue, Jonas Jens from Alpecin Premier Tech. For EF, it is Jardy Vanderlee, who's been really good today.
He has. He's made both these breakaways. When it got caught again, he was the one to make the move and follow. Well, he definitely tried to follow Jacobs there, but he ended up getting there in the end. One thing I was just thinking about Movistar, I feel like they're in for a bit more of a long haul here. They want to do both the climbs. They want to go over this first category 3 and then go down the descent, which is about 10 kilometres, a small descent and a little bit of flat in between, and then smack that second category 3. I think they're going for both the climbs there.
Your old teammate, Jens Kerkele, was just up with the team car to Alpecin Premier Tech. He had his stage victory into Bilbao maybe 10 or 11 years ago. That was a fantastic win.
With the Vuelta, yeah. He was 2 stage wins at the Vuelta of España. He's one of the sprinters that could climb. Jens Kukelaer, he's a Belgian that loved the classics, but in the Grand Tour, he could get over a lot of climbs. He could suffer, and he had a quick finish. So a stage like today would suit, actually, Jens Kukelaer, who's now driving the car.
And he's managed to get a rider in each of the breakaways today. And unfortunately for that team, Caden Groves, he was over the handlebars, big crash on stage 1. He ended up abandoning the race on stage 3. It would have been perfect for Caden Groves. If Caden Groves was in the race, they wouldn't have a rider in the breakaway. They'd have somebody alongside Movistar. They'd be joining in this party with Ivan Garcia Cortina and making the race hard.
Yeah, they would. They would. And well, what they're doing, they are eating into this margin very quickly. They've already knocked 30 seconds off, and it's dropping rapidly. So you can just see, look at the difference in the speed from these guys now. They are a little bit up the road, but not much when you think about it. And when it skips back to the Peloton and Movistar, they are flying.
Just a few hundred metres till they get through the intermediate sprint in Stella. Number 25, he wants these 12 points. He's just waiting and biding his time. He's now up in a second spot behind Jardy van der Lee. Into the township now. He's about to see the finishing arch, perhaps when he gets around this next corner. Amongst the barricades, this is the prize that he's been chasing at the midway point on the stage. 12 more points for the race for the Chiclamina jersey at 100 kilometres having been covered.
It's good riding by Tedotsi. Really good riding over the course of, well, 12 stages, including today, just to keep himself high up in that classification, and he's done it in the form of breakaways.
But I like this, Mitch. He's gone through the intermediate sprint. It hasn't disrupted the group's rhythm. He's got his 12 points, and as a way of saying thank you, he stayed on the front a lot longer.
Yeah, he's realised if he wants this to work, there's no point sort of stitching your fellow breakaway compatriots up. He's got to make sure to keep it together and keep the, the tension low in that group. He doesn't want to start, rustling the feathers. They're only a minute gap now. They want to get over this climb and try and hang on to it.
Here's Lopez. He was in the earlier breakaway. He's now taken over the pacemaking. It's Ivan Garcia Cortina, job done. Lopez to the front, and it's Lorenzo Malisi who is the next to go.
And Lopez took it up a big notch. I'm excited to see Malesi go. He's my favourite rider from this Giro so far. Rolled a top 10 in the time trial, just put the ice vest on. It's recovering. Couldn't be bothered taking it off.
And from this tiny town, Sandro Pettini, the 7th president of Italy, was born. And he was the president between 78 and 85. Good outcome from such a small town.
That is a good outcome.
I wonder what's going through the mind of these leaders as all the motorbikes have been told it's time to go forward, it's time to get out of the way. The Peloton is coming.
We're on limited time. I think that's what's going through their heads, unfortunately for them. And because what happens, we've gone over the climb, there's a little bit of a descent, but not much. It doesn't drop down completely back to sea level, and then it kicks back up into the second climb. So Movistar now know they've got to keep the pace on here.
And here's the damage at the back. Number 32. This is the sprinter for Decathlon. This is Tobias Lund Andersen. And behind him is the Plan B sprinter for Alpecin. That's the Aussie, Jensen Plowright.
Oh, I didn't expect Lund Andersen to be going out the back right now, and I had high hopes for Jensen Plowright today, but it just seems like that pace is too much already with still 5 kilometres to go on this climb. The steepest part is in the last kilometre as well.
And Decathlon, they can't send too many back to wait for him because they've got a bigger priority with Felix Gall, who's 4th overall. And now doing the job at the front, it's Enric Mas. This is a new Enric Mas. He was the team leader. He was the one that was looked after. Everybody was carrying his bags, his water bottles. Now he's doing the job for the squad. That is going to get him a whole new level of respect and gratitude from within the team.
Yeah, totally. And we've talked about the composition, how it's changed over the years, and ever since the retirement of Alejandro Valverde, who was their winner, and they sacrificed everything and everyone for him for so many years. So they've got to reinvent, and you need guys like Enric Mas. As much as if he's not in the general classification, this is where he needs to sacrifice or go on the move like he did yesterday.
The last of the riders in the white colours from Movistar, that's Luis Ular, that is the Venezuelan national champion. That's the guy they're working for. No pressure, Luis.
Well, hopefully he's learnt from stage 4 and he hit out too early. This is Filippo Ganna going out the back here. This shows you the pace that they're putting on. This shows you the pace that Enric Master's doing. I don't think Master's only going to earn respect within his team. He's going to earn respect within the peloton. To see a full GC guy laying it down for his sprinter, that gives you respect in the bunch.
Yeah, and on stage 4, he was the one that tried to do the lead out for Ula. This is a completely different Enric Master, and he's been a joy to watch in this Giro.
It's time to watch this man suffer. On Malesi, he'll get to the top here, 4.5k. Even when his face is squirming, he's still got another 3k in him. Don't worry about that.
Here's one of the guys he wants to get rid of. 1-3-1, Paul Magnier. Look at the hips, Macca. They're rocking and rolling. They're under pressure.
Yeah.
But in front of him is Pascal Ackermann from Jaco Alula.
Yeah, so there's a few sprinters surviving at the moment, but they've still got 4 kilometres to go. It's not much. There's rocking and rolling. They're under pressure. Dylan Groenewegen, he's under a little bit more pressure though because he's off the back, but he's got the team waiting. I like this. This is going to be a chase down the other side. Remember, still 50 kilometres to go, more than 50 kilometres from the top.
The team did the work in the entire flat part of the stage, the first 100 kilometres. Now they're on the back foot. 4Ks to climb, another climb after that. The task is really ahead of them.
Yeah, well, look, I think if this was the only climb of the day, they have a good chance of getting back. The fact that we're just doing a small dip and then going straight into another 5-kilometre Category 3 climb, which is much steeper, by the way. It's at 6%. It's another 2% steeper, which is a lot. When it comes to a sprinter, 2% on a climb, that's a hell of a lot.
Here's the leaders. They're down to just 30 seconds. Tarozzi with the maximum points. Van der Lee was the next best. Then it was Jens who got 3rd place. Jens, number 4, sitting in second last position from Alpecin Premier Tech. Here's the standing. So Tarozzi has moved into 4th position, collecting those 12 points today. What about Guilherme Thomas Silva? 45 points. He has been a stage winner already. He won stage 2, where it was a tricky finale.
Oh, that's right. It's those sort of riders that can survive today and then can deliver at the end. So just got to hang tough for Silva.
And we've spoken about him a few times already, but we've just seen him down at the back. Jonathan Narvaez, a 50-pointer today in the race for the Chiclamina jersey, because it's not classified as a particularly hilly stage, definitely not as a mountain stage. Those ones, it's only 25 points for the win. He can take the lead in the race for the points classification.
Yes, you're right, he can. Yeah.
50k an hour as they go uphill right now. So, look, Dylan Groenewegen's going to have his work cut out for him. The team will have to be pulling. This is where the team will make a big difference on these lower slopes of the climb where you can actually get a draft.
Malisi still setting the tempo, but no ice vest on.
We never got to the bottom of that, did we, officially? Or did we?
Yeah, he did an interview afterwards and he said, yep, I forgot.
Oh, he did, okay. Forgot, and so did the team. The team forgot to tell him.
Well, he said it was warm. He was trying to stay cool for as long as possible, going through his warm-up protocol. He didn't want to overheat. And it was just as he was rolling down the ramp, or about to roll down the ramp, he realised that he still had his ice vest on. Not the first to do it. Geraint Thomas has done the same. For Geraint Thomas, though, it was just a gilet. It was just a vest, not an ice vest. He's still on the front, Mitch. He really caught your attention on stage 4.
He has. He's caught my attention throughout this whole Vuelta. So this whole Giro d'Italia, he's a rider I really was unaware of. And he impressed me because he looked like he was in a lot of trouble early on that climb. But he didn't just... He absolutely shredded the peloton from bottom to top. And the fact that we saw GC riders going out the back showed me how strong he was. That time trial result as well proved the fact.
Zukovsky is the rider at the back for Pinarello, Q36.5. They had Harper in the breakaway yesterday. The white colours for Soudal Quickstep, that's a surprise. That is Filippo Zanna. His tough Giro is continuing. Here is Milan, number 65. He's on his limits. Is he on the radio calling for help? He's in real trouble here, Jonathan Milan.
Oh, yeah. He's just drifting, isn't he? More and more towards the back.
He's doing the right thing, Macca. That's right. He's drifting. He's not going over his limit. He's using this very long peloton, starting at the front and slowly drifting back. But unfortunately, Macca, there isn't much drift for him left, is there?
There's not. There's not. I mean, he's edging closer to this summit. The problem is there's another one to come.
And he's one of the best sprinters in the world and one of the best climbers in the world, is at the front setting the tempo. It's Enric Mas. I like this, the way they're not completely burning Lorenzo Malisi out. They're swapping him off with Enric Mas, because this isn't it. It's a short descent, and then it's the next climb, which is another 5.5 kilometres of opportunity for Movistar to get rid of some sprinters.
And this one's harder. It's not as long as the climb they're on now. That's 11 kilometres in total, including the intermediate sprint. But it's almost 6% average. So this is going to sting the sprinters even more. The ones that are left here, if there are any left over, they're going to be in more trouble on the next one.
If there's anything they've learnt from stage 4 is that they're probably going to need to get Enric Mas and Lorenzo Malesi over the next climb, because as we've spoken about, it's 50 kilometres from the top of that climb to the finish. And if anything is Ulalio, Ulas Olar, the sprinter, didn't have enough men in the final. He was left a little bit on his own. He made the mistake of going early. Maybe they've learned from that. Hang on, we don't go quite as hard, and keep a couple of riders over the top of the climb to drive it to the finish.
Will they find any friends as a team?
Well, yeah, I was going to say the problem they've got as well, even if Malesi and Mas are there, do they then just control 50 kilometres to go? That's a long way to go. They need UAE or someone else, but UAE, they've had so much success, they can afford to just sit back. So I'm just not sure who.
It's definitely not going to be UAE. Van der Lee now going to the front of what is the breakaway group. It's beginning to split up. Net Company Ineos, they've got Ben Turner. He waited on stage 4 to support Egan Bernal to get back in contact and burn his own chances. But their higher priority now is Tymon Arrington, who's in 3rd place overall. Let's keep searching and find an ally that Movistar might be able to get within this peloton.
Well, the best thing that could happen for Movistar now is a GC rider gets distance over the next climb. Then we will see another team come to the front and go, hang on, we can also profiteer off this move and push on. Are these climbs hard enough? Probably not, but considering the couple of days we've had, we may see a GC rider come unstuck today.
Top of this climb, it will be worth it 9 points. Top of the next climb, also worth it 9 points. And there's Soigniers on the side of the road, right near the top of the climb, just before the descent gets started.
Well, the other thing that could happen, they catch this breakaway group, which is about to happen. They get over the second climb. They've got rid of pretty much all of the sprinters. Movistar are left alone to ride tempo, but they don't have the numbers. You start to get opportunist attacks, and you get a fresh group off the road that actually take the stage.
Ackerman, he's on the radio. He's calling for the team. He's the rider in the purple colours of Jaco Alula. His last stage victory in the Giro d'Italia was in 2019. That was a long time ago. Movistar, they've caught almost the entire breakaway. It's just Jardy van der Lee who is still out in front. And one more. Jacobs is out in front as well. Movistar now, though, they're beginning to feel the pinch. Malesi, they need to nurse him over the top. Ular is the last in line, and he appreciates the work that his teammates are doing.
Well, Leslie, yeah, he's gone deep. You know what the difference will be here compared to stage 4? He's got a world-class Grand Tour GC rider riding in front of him, Enric Mas. That pace he's setting must be furious.
Coming to the top of the climb. Jardy van der Lee checks across the shoulder and banks himself 9 points in the race for the King of the Mountains classification. Jonas Hens, the next one across the top. And then it is Movistar leading the peloton on through. I'd like this chopper to stay here for a while longer to identify any more splits. It's still a really big group. Now Magnier has been dropped. The purple or the Chiclamino jersey. It matters. Mikkels is also out the back. So too is Casper Van Newton. There are 3 riders in him. Make that 4 because Ethan Vernon is there. 4 of the contenders for the stage victory today are off the back as a result of the Movistar momentum.
And they're all together. Milan and Meunier are together. There's no difference in their climbing abilities.
Yeah, what we're going to see now is a wild chase, potentially goose chase for the next 20-odd kilometres that might amount to nothing. They might not get back, or they will get back a little bit dishevelled, but they'll be back in the fight.
Einar Rubio now goes to the front.
The thing is, Macca, even if they do come back, Movistar's plan will still work because they've damaged the sprinters. They've put the sprinters over their limit by trying to hang on. They've had to go over their threshold. They've put themselves absolutely in the red, except for their sprinter, Woulard. He has got over the climb a little easier. It may even the playing field once they get to the final sprint.
Yeah, it'll even it a little bit. And there's still the Red Bull sprint bonification, and the profile, it doesn't look much, but there are a couple of kinks coming in, and Matt mentioned the uphill drag to the line. So you're right, they'll have at least, you know, taken the sting, hopefully, in their minds, out of the real purists.
And Ben Turner, he is still in the group with 66.6 Ks to go. It's an evil Movistar in the eyes of the sprinters. Stage 12 of the Giro d'Italia, it's on a knife's edge.
Here we go again.
Got a bunch of fans calling my phone, say that I'm number one, yeah, I know. You can't get me off of my throne, nah. It feels like it's been worth the wait. You won't say a word when I show up.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup starts June 12, live and exclusive to SBS and on demand.
They've been using as many of the resources as they can while still protecting their sprinter Ula. The bad news just coming through for them, Javier Romo, who they had high expectations of throughout this year's Giro, he has abandoned the race.
Yeah, he has. That sort of come as a surprise. Well, I hadn't heard anything. I'm presuming he's a little bit ill because he's a quality bike rider. And on a day like today, very helpful for Ula as well. So that's a real blow for Movistar.
What has been really helpful for the sprinters is number 66, Mateo Sobrero.
Yeah, Sobrero from Trek. He's dropped back. He's dropped back with Milan. And look, he closed the gap pretty quickly to get them back onto the group. The thing is, the sprinters now, they've still got one more climb to face. The fact is they're starting on level playing ground again. I don't doubt they will will hang on here. I think they will get dropped. But they'll be within distance. If they've got a guy like Sobrero, they'll be able to come back on this long way to the finish.
So from the top of the next climb, it's 52 kilometres to go to the finish line. But the descending doesn't start straight away. There's around 10 kilometres or so of undulations before the real descent.
Yes, that's it. And that's not good for the sprinters because they get dropped across the top. Normally, if it's a quick up and then you're straight down, they can get organised immediately. They can't. They've got to fight for another 10 kilometres, which makes it almost worse.
So Sobrero is sitting at the back. What's his role now, number 66?
Well, Sobrero's just going to be sitting at the back. He's almost like a gatekeeper. Once he sees Milan come back, he'll stay with Milan, drift back with him, stay with him at all costs. Once they get over the top of the climb, Milan will take his wheel and he'll pace him back on. He's been doing it very well.
And yet he's also been one of the most important teammates for Derek G, who's their best climber inside the top 10. He is their Swiss Army knife. He's their Bontrager multi-tool.
Yeah. Yeah, he certainly is. 8th place overall, top 10, 3 minutes 34, so he's in the hunt for the podium.
This is Lorenzo Melisi still at the front. Even though he had the ice vest on the individual time trial on Tuesday, stage 10, he still finished inside the top 10.
Yeah. Makes it even more impressive, doesn't it?
It was a big ride. Now he's backing it up again today. Jonathan Narvaez still looking very comfortable at the back. He's got another stage winner alongside him, 192, Igor Arrieta. The climb with the brick Breton, it doesn't sound very Italian, does it?
It doesn't at all, actually. No, it sounds more almost Austrian or... yeah, no, it does not sound Italian.
Remember the Olmo bikes?
Yes.
This is the area where Giuseppe Olmo was born.
Ah.
Well, we just went through the birthplace of the Amaretti biscuits. Very nice with a little coffee.
Yum.
A little nice crunchy outside, that almond sort of meal.
They are great.
And a bit chewy on the inside. I went through the birthplace of them. Got to go back there and try one of the OGs. They were handing them out on the side of the road back there. Did you see everyone having a little nibble as we went through?
Love it. Some great products, actually, around this area. And, of course, the Finnish Norvi Ligure is famous for its chocolate. And I think this stage actually finishes right outside the chocolate factory. It's sold right across Italy. Chances are, if you love your chocolate and you've been to Italy on a holiday, you've probably bought some.
Geez, in good company, isn't he, Jonathan Narvaez, for the non-sprinters in the last 10 years to have won 3 stages in a single edition. Simon Yates, Filippo Ganna, Tadej Pogacar.
That is a select group, yeah.
2 of them have won the race overall, and one of them has won 8 time trials or 7 time trials throughout his career in the Giro d'Italia. Ana Rubio now at the front.
So one thing you would have noticed there, you couldn't see the sprinters at the back. What they would have done as soon as they came back to the peloton, they would have got as far forward as they could. So they've got, and we can see Jonathan Milan there, just behind the Uno X riders there. Because what they want to do is they want to do that thing that Macca and I were talking about before, is drift. They want to use the length of the peloton, hang in there as long as they can.
That's right. You start on the back at the base of the climb. You've got nowhere to go, except backwards, out the back immediately. Whereas even if you start at the front, you're just buying time, aren't you? The climb's, what, nearly 6 kilometres. If it takes 2 kilometres for you to get dropped, okay, you've only got 4 to go, and you can still potentially get back on down the other side.
It's been a tough few days for Filippo Zanna. He's been arguing, by all reports, with his teammate, Gianmarco Garofoli. For Zanna, the race has not been going according to plan. He looks as if he's not 100%. There has been a bug going through the peloton, and we've seen a lot of riders abandon because of it. Particularly 3 riders from Lotto Intermarché. They came down with gastroenteritis on the back of having done a race in Belgium before going to Bulgaria for the start of the Giro. The climb's about to start, and they are hitting it with pace.
Oh yeah, there's no messing around now. And we talked about the average speed of the race so far, well, almost an hour ago now. And when they were what we call meandering along the coastline there, when that initial breakaway was established, but they've still averaged 44.7 to now, so nearly 40, let's call it 45 kilometres per hour. They've gone over that first climb.
It's going to be another really quick stage. There are the numbers for the climb: 5.5 kilometres, maximum gradient of 10%, the average of 6. A lot of damage can be done on 6 when you're dealing with sprinters trying to get over it at these speeds.
Yeah, and that's the difference, isn't it, to the first climb? Lot longer, double the length, but only a grade of 4.2, so almost 2% steeper. That is enough to really hurt, and especially the big sprinters, the Jonathan Milans. They've got to lug that big body up over this climb.
One of the key riders from Movistar I haven't spotted at the front there is Oliveira, and he played a huge role in stage 4. He carried this attack or this move pretty much the last 40k into the finish. So I haven't spotted him at the front yet. I'm assuming he's in the bunch.
If he was, he's the kind of rider that would be at the front because he's their captain on the road. He could be having a bad day. We haven't had the cameras on him, and he might have slipped out the back.
And, of course, Romo, who we saw abandon, we don't know why. We're second-guessing here.
NSN, they are confident. They're now at the front to help. We asked the question, who would help? NSN, because they believe in the Kiwi Corbin Strong.
And we've got the 2 Oceania boys up there, Nick Schultz and the Kiwi, of course,
Dion Smith.
Dion Smith. I've lost my mind there for a second. Sorry, Dion Smith as well, right there behind him. Good to see them right up there. This is exactly what Movistar needed.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They needed it hard enough to offload Ethan Vernon, and therefore NSN to go, okay, now we go with Corbin Strong, and now we actually help out on the front.
Now the back door is starting to open. There he is, Jonathan Milan, big number 65.
Oof. The camera knows it. You zoom on in and you can just see he's just bit by bit. But again, it's what we talked about, Mitch. You brought it up. It's given him time. It's bought him some time. He started as far forward as he can, and it just buys him a little bit of time. And even at this speed, 32 kilometres per hour, in the slipstream, you're saving. You are actually saving a little bit, aren't you?
I don't know if they've done enough. 3 kilometres to go. He is going to get distance, but he's got Sobrero there. He's going to be able to get back on. The question is, how much damage has it done to him?
Yeah, and it is a long way from the top of the climb until they get to the finish line. So there's plenty of opportunities for him to come back. And they'll make the decision at the top of the climb how many resources they send back to support him. They've already given him Matteo Sobrero.
And second to last kilometre of this climb, so they're still yet to hit it. It actually goes up to 8.6% for a kilometre. So that's, even though it's only 1 kilometre, you've got Milan and the light in trouble now. When they hit that kilometre there, they're going to hurt even more.
Paul Magnier, he is drifting back. He's got a teammate there in talking to him, encouraging him. That is Garofoli. He wants to see him get over the top of this climb. He and Recagna, the 2 Italians, they're going to try and stick in this group, but they want to see the Frenchman get there. Filippo Zanna, his teammate, number 138, has nothing to race for in the general classification and has ridden straight past their best sprinter.
Yeah, and look at the difference. Milan is suffering, but he's measured his effort a bit further I think Manier, he's gone deep. He's gone really, really deep to try and stay closer to the front, and now he's had a mini explosion.
Jonathan Milan is still in contact.
Where is Manier's teammates? He is solo at the back.
He just rode straight. One just rode straight past him. Filippo Zanna went straight past at him, looked at him, and looked away, and kept going in the peloton.
Yeah, that's crazy. Especially 2.5 kilometres from the summit. That is pretty wild.
Sports directors at that team in this race?
Yeah, you'd be...
Kevin Holzmans
and
David Abramati.
Yep.
Yep, they'll be expressing their displeasure at the end of the day.
Wow, you'd think so.
Now he's
Here
waiting.
we go.
So he saw what the job was. He's now had the call from the team car.
Yep.
He shouldn't need the call from the team car.
No.
He's an experienced member of that team.
It should have been discussed. It must have been discussed in the team meeting in the morning, surely.
And look at Picnic Post and L. They've had a disastrous season. They've only won one race, but they're protecting number 158. Gijs Lemreiser is waiting for him. They're desperate to get Casper Van Uden through this one. Vandenbroek is there as well to try and support him.
Well, this is your pick here, Macca. You picked him out. I actually think
he was a wild card.
It's not a bad pick. I feel like this is the best we've seen him ride so far in this Giro d'Italia.
Well, they've all just got to hang tough. And just because they're dropped now, you don't throw the towel in, because you've got 50 kilometres. We keep saying it. But there's a long way to go once they get over the top of this climb.
Oh, Manier is suffering, but his teammate is finally there with him. For Paul Manier, he is riding the Giro d'Italia for the second time. He rode it last year, and he made it all the way through to the end of stage 15. So this isn't new territory for him. He knows what it's like this deep into a 3-week race.
Jonathan Milan still in touch with the peloton at the back there. Is this the steeper part? This is the steeper part. It's flattening out. They've got to turn the screws a bit here if they want to distance Milan.
So Enric Mas goes to the front, the best climber from Movistar at this year's Giro.
Inside 2 kilometres to go, and you can see the road kicking up again.
Oh, it's tough work at the back of the peloton. But it's still a really big group. Jonathan Milan, he is turning himself inside out to make it over this climb. There he is, number 65, Sobrero, sitting behind him.
Wow, I just spotted the Australian Jensen Plowright about 10 wheels in front of Milan.
He made it back into the group after the previous climb. Jensen Plowright, he too knows how to hurt himself.
This is the moment here. Movistar really need to turn the screws. Inside 2 kilometres to go, just approaching the 1 kilometre to go mark, and they haven't been able to distance Milan.
They would have hoped for more from this climb.
Yeah, and look, I thought it was going to, the damage was going to be more, but they've found their rhythm a little bit, if we can say that. Some of the sprinters, they've hit the red zone, but they've handled it.
There's Milan. He now is bowing his head. He's at the back, but he is still in contact. And with 1 kilometre to the top, here he is. Magnus Sheffield is the rider who's alongside. Sobrero actually is really suffering at the back. He's getting dropped first.
Everyone was grabbing bottles. Milan was getting rid of bottles.
Yeah.
He's still got one in there.
Now he has Sobrero for support. The fantastic time trialist, Matteo Sobrero, so he's the perfect guy to pace Jonathan Milan.
Well, this will be giving Movistar that little bit of confidence they need. These images will be going back into the team car. Matt White will be on the radio. Good. We've got the distance. Now we've got to put the nail in the coffin.
So they've taken over with fresh horses at the front. They've got Einar Rubio, because this guy, Paul Manier, and this guy, Jonathan Milan, are off the back for now at least.
I love that camera work there. Images of pain from one to the other, the faces, the grimaces.
And Soudal Quickstep, they've finally sent another rider back. It is Gianmarco Garofoli. Garofoli and Zanna are the two with Paul Manier, and these are the two that within the team that have had their own civil war within the squad.
Never a good sign when you're looking behind. Jonathan Milan having a look to see where Paul Manier is. Hey, is he coming? Have I got one over him?
Oh, gee. Just looking, glancing at the back of that Peloton, you can just see the suffering zigzagging across the road. And remember, the descent does not begin immediately. There'll be a little bit of a dip initially, but false sense of security, because then the road kicks back up, back down, back up. Then, after about 10 kilometres, then the descent proper.
I think that's going to work in hand of Movistar. Potentially, maybe that's why they've taken a different tempo in this last bit. They know they have to get across the top before the descent. NSN need to dip in as well. They're going to need both teams working full gas. Otherwise, we're going to see Milan being rejoined with Sobrero.
It's the anti-pure sprinter collaboration at the front. And now we have the chase further back down the road. Number 131, that is Paul Manier. 2 stage victories. 158, Casper Van Newton. He was a stage winner last year. So Soudal Quickstep and Picnic Post-NL, they've got the same objective. They will work together.
They've got some numbers, and it's a smart thing to do. You've got to put your troops back, don't you? I mean, these guys are the best chance for their respective teams to get a stage win at this point in the race. So you've got to send some riders back.
Sobrero is unfortunately riding away from Milan. He needs to go slower.
Well, what I think's happened is Milan has gone so deep. He's hung on further than Manier. But in doing that, he's blown himself completely. Look at him pedaling up there. He's losing a massive chunk of time now.
He's pedaling in squares. Meanwhile, out in front, it is the super domestique from Movistar, Enric Mas, who collects 9 points for the King of the Mountains classification. But the big target is to collect the stage victory. All right, going through.
Looked like him. Yeah, he was there before. So
the other reasonably quick rider that they have, I wouldn't call him a sprinter, but he is fast, is Francesco Pozzato, and he's very similar stature to Jensen Plowright.
Yeah.
Same sort of height, slightly skinnier quads. This is Alessandro Pinarello at the back here for NSN. He normally climbs a lot better than this.
And this is the problem now, which is always going to be the case. They've gone across the top. So on the short downhill, they're flying. The Peloton, Milan, and Manier, they're still suffering. They are suffering, and the suffering continues now. Just because it's downhill doesn't mean they're not hurting. They're going to be suffering on the wheel here.
Well, they're going to make a little team up here. How crazy is this? They could be sprinting against each other later on in the stage for the stage victory, but now, at this moment, they need to work together. They need each other.
Well, this is 3 teams, isn't it? Of course, the team of Manier, Casper Van Uden, and then, of course, Lidl Trek with Milan. So this is a decent group of riders. If they can nurse their respective sprinters through this next 10 kilometres and then full gas, then it is absolutely full gas down the other side.
55 seconds is definitely doable. But they cannot wait around. They've got to get organised straight away. And they're trying to... Mitch, you've been here recently. This is really hard terrain to get a chase organised on. The consistent up and down.
It's really hard, especially for the guys doing the chasing, because all they want to do is go fast and get them back. But they've got to think of the legs of the sprinters. They can't rip up the next climb and then drop their sprinter again. Sprinters have gone so deep now. They're in a fragile moment. They need to almost lose a bit more time across the top here in order for them to go fast on the flat. That's when they can recover. My question is, even if they do get back, how much damage has been done? Those faces showed a whole story of pain.
It always staggers me, sprinters. You see them dropped on a climb, and you think they're on their hands and knees. They're done. How can they possibly sprint? Then they get back in contact. Their ability to find a little extra. They're like a cow with an extra stomach that you've got for dessert. They find a little extra for the sprint when they're racing for the win.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they're a special breed, aren't they? And they do. You get a sniff, and a little bit of it is, I think, psychological. You know, you suffer through this section. Your teammates then nurse you back. They might chase for 20-odd kilometres. And then you get inside that last hour of racing or 40-odd minutes, and you say, OK, I'm here, and I'm ready to sprint for a win.
Pink jersey's there as well. another day in defence, the 7th day in the pink jersey. He's going to collect his 8th at the end of this.
And he's looked pretty comfortable too. A couple of times I've just watched him, even just a few moments ago, sort of dancing on the pedals. He didn't look to be under any pressure at all.
Soudal Quickstep, in a moment of crisis, break glass, call Jasper Stuyven. He's the right at the back. He will now potentially wait to support Paul Magnier.
Well, no,
or does he sprint?
That's what I'm thinking. Someone I haven't even thought about.
They've kept him there for that reason.
Jasper Stuyven is fast in his own right, especially after such a stage. That's a great call, Matt. Jasper Stuyven, considering the form he's been showing in this race, he wouldn't have had to exert too much energy to get over that climb. And when it comes to a sprint like this, slightly uphill, hang on, he's coming into his own.
I know Rubio's still at the front. EF Education Easy Post up towards the front as well today.
Is Mikkel still in the group?
No, I think he was even further back. He was back with Dylan Groenewegen, I think.
So who have we got left, if any, of the sprinters in this front group?
Corbin Strong.
So Corbin Strong, let's give him a sprinter status.
Ben Turner, Net Company, Ineos.
Okay.
We've obviously...
Thomas Silva, XDS Astana.
Yep, well done.
Ula.
Stage winner already. Ula, yep. Movistar. With Jensen Plowright, do we give him... I think if he's there, we've got to mark him in
I'm going to give
as
him
a potential.
And his teammate, Francesco Bozzato. Let you think about it. We're going to take a short break. Back on the other side, see if we can find any more sprinters.
Soccer is the universal language of the whole world.
You know the biggest problem? The American sports fan could care less about it.
The sport is too foreign. You know, it's for sissies, it's for commies.
The fastest way to win over an American sports fan is to show that you could actually compete with the rest of the world.
You have to have a professional league to be successful as a footballing nation.
Soccer's American Dream. Monday 9:20 on SBS Viceland and on...
At Australian Ethical, we've been investing ethically for nearly 40 years.
No English.
But she can be a little bit disruptive.
De Catalaveno.
There will be an investigation.
Big favourites, they've been dropped. Jonathan Milan and Paul Magnier, but they're within 1 minute. They've got teammates for support and they're trying to work their way back in. This is a battle between the teammates of the not pure sprinters, but quick guys trying to hold off the pure sprinters who don't like to climb.
It is. It's a battle royale now, isn't it? It's a tug of war. And the problem for the sprinters teams, obviously the big problem have been the thorn in their side is Team Movistar, who started all of this. But now we've got EF Education Easy Post, who are also assisting, as well as NSN. So 3 teams. And I feel that EF and NSN, they potentially will do the bulk of the riding now towards the finish. Movistar, they've done their fair share. They'll assist a little bit. So that is a real problem for the sprinters teams, because they've now got to ride against 3 teams, and look at them. They're committed, and they're going to be fully committed to the finish now. And the question, and we can't give you at home the answer yet, we're still trying to find out who is in this front group, who is there for EF, and what other quasi-sprinters are still nestled in this group.
Well, Michael Valgren working at the front. He's a man for the classics. He's a brilliant rider, Michael Valgren, but not a sprinter. James Shaw is in second spot for EF Education Easy Post. I want the camera to go further back, looking for the Estonian national champion, Mattis Mikkels, and we've found him. He's 4th from the back.
There he
Mattis
is.
Mikkels is still in contacts.
That is amazing. This is one of the fastest guys left in the bunch for sure. He was going toe-to-toe on the flat sprint stages. Just remember that, finishing 4th in stage 2. Mattis Mikkels is the fastest rider left in the bunch. The question is, how much damage has been done? And it's a slight uphill finish, which suits Mikkels. He likes the slight inclines.
Well, then, to me, the perfect amount of damage has been done, because Mikkels has been able to stay, and all of his rivals, according to you, you're saying he's the quickest here, he's offloaded them. So no wonder EF Education Easy Post are on the front. So that's answered one question for us.
The first 2 sprint finishes, stages 1 and 3. Mattis Mikkels on stage 1, he was 5th. Stage 3, he was 4th. And in neither of those stages did he have a lead-out train. So they can completely exhaust the team to hold off Milan and Magnier to give Mattis Mikkels the chance for the win, because he can fend for himself.
Wow, this is great. Makes it very interesting, doesn't it?
Well, just as they had Sobrero rating for Milan, Jefferson Safeda is waiting there for Mikkels. He's waiting behind him to make sure he gets over all these little lumps. He's got a support rider there.
This is the Jonathan Milan group, which also includes Turozzi, who was in the breakaway today. When they went across the top of the climb, though, the gap was 58 seconds. That doesn't look good, Macca. And that is going up. That is now out to 1:10. Yeah,
it's going in the wrong direction, isn't it? So, oh, yeah, they'll chase. They won't give up. They won't get to the bottom and say, oh, we're a minute 20 down or a minute 30 off the pace, throw the towel in. They'll chase for a long way. So this is going to be a drag race, I think, for the next at least 30 minutes.
A lot of risks being taken on the way down. So big 3 sprinters in the leading group. We've got Mattis Mikkels there, his teammate. They are working. Corbin Strong, he's got teammates working. And Ular for Movistar, his team has done most of the damage on the way up the climb.
43 kilometres to go. They'll be home in less than an hour because of the nature of the race, and they would be anyway. They will fly. They will fly once they hit this descent. Yeah, it'll be 50 minutes left to race. So if you're sitting at home, you're getting a little bit sleepy. You've probably woken up a bit with everything that's happened. Less than an hour to go. Pour yourself a cup of tea.
Well, do I dare say it?
Jonathan Narvaez is in the group. Were you going to say it?
That is the one I was going to say.
It's hilarious. It's just funny, isn't it?
Go on.
Jonathan Narvaez.
Yep.
Where is he?
We haven't even
He's in the group. Sure, there's no way he's not in the group.
Exactly. He's got to be there.
Because, like, this again is a stage for him, a slight uphill after a very difficult stage. Don't underestimate how much that took out of the fast guys that are still in the group. Narvaez, he cruised over that climb.
You're a party pooper. You are. We're searching for new stage winners, someone different, a team that's, you know, just been battling for 12 days. They've got nothing. This is their big chance.
If he wins again, people are going to be watching it as a replay on SBS On Demand in the morning and think they've uploaded the wrong stage.
Yeah, there'll be complaints sent in. Yeah.
This guy's done it again. Look at the gap, though. It's getting bigger and bigger. It's out to 1:18 to the chasing group.
Yeah, I feel like the men that they've got back there to help the sprinters, they only really had a handful of riders to ride, and they're on their limit. They've already been doing some work in between the last two climbs. Cabrera's already pulled them back once. Now they've got a big task ahead of them, 42 kilometres. Fresh men have come to the front here.
Yeah.
EF, who haven't done any work at all. A guy like Valgren coming to the front and pulling big turns. Valgren in his own right can win from a breakaway, such a strong rider. Now he's riding the front. I think they've got Buckley's and none hope of getting back.
Plenty of stages in this region for the Giro d'Italia and Piemonte. Previous winners, the stage in Sestriere last year wasn't that epic, with Chris Harper getting the win, as it was Simon Yates who took over the Mare Rosa from Isaac Del Toro. Today, the focus is not on the pink jersey, it's on the stage win. In Group 2 at 1:19, sprinters in there who have been stage winners in the Giro d'Italia, not necessarily this year, but they have won sprint stages. Jonathan Milan, Casper van Uden and Paul Magnier. A group that is another minute further back includes Jensen Plowright, Tobias Lund Andersen, Pascal Ackermann and Dylan Groenewegen. There's not many fast guys left in that front group.
No, not too many at all. And you see, that's where the damage was done in that preceding 20-odd kilometres. So they're now hitting the descent proper, well and truly on it. I think the sprinters still have a chance behind the ones at the Milan group, let's call it. But they won't make inroads until they get off the descent. They're not going to gain any time, are they? We know that. They'll pretty much descend around the same speed. It'll be when they get onto the flat roads, we'll see what horsepower they've got from behind.
They're 920 metres behind.
It doesn't sound like a lot when you say it like that, but the 1 minute 20, that sounds worse. Yeah.
NSN are doing a great job at the front. Nick Schultz and Dion Smith doing the work for Corbin Strong. Off the bike, Corbin Strong is one of the gentlest sprinters you're ever likely to meet. Like, he's just a nice guy. Put him on the bike in a sprint finish. Has he got the mongrel in him?
He must, you know, he has to. As a bunch sprinter, you can't be a nice bunch sprinter.
That's why I got to interview him a couple of years ago at the Tour Down Under. And as he walked out, I spoke to his press officer and said, he might be the nicest sprinter on the face of the earth. How does he rub elbows and bump heads at 60+ kilometres per hour?
You're spot on that, because that's where I've interviewed him as well. And I think I even had a bit of a joke, tongue-in-cheek, with him. And he's very gentleman-like, very polite, nice guy. And he rode off, and I thought, hang on, that is the sprinter of the team. Yeah.
Oh, Jefferson Zepeda is the man who's at the back of the peloton for EF Education Easy Post. Oh, slow-mo replays always make me nervous.
Oh, yeah, he's completely...
That's Nick Schultz, the Australian.
Oh, he's off. Soft landing.
That's a half save?
Yeah, half save we'll call that.
But it highlights the risk. It is around every corner, literally. This is Schultzy at the back. So he's been able to get himself back up on the bike and going whilst in contact with the peloton.
He'll be thanking his lucky stars tonight.
Yeah, that's right. That's a lucky escape. And as you say, Matt, a half save.
And isn't he a great story about his journey into the pro peloton?
Yeah, Nick Schultz, he went the most unconventional way. He didn't make it through the AIS, and he thought, no, I'm not done. I'm just going to buy a ticket and head over to France. And he pretty much muscled it out, you know, grafted his way through the French amateur scene, got his way on to the Spanish team, and went across that way. He rode on Cajaral for a couple of years and then made his way onto Green Edge, onto Jayco, and then from there he's made his way across here onto NSN.
Yeah, it's quite a story of perseverance. He also had one season with the SEG racing team up in Belgium before joining Cajaral. And here he is at the back. He'd be slightly rattled after that near miss.
Oh, you're going to be. Doesn't matter how sort of confident a rider you are. You hit the deck, you're going to be a little bit tentative on the next few corners. He's just sort of lost the wheel there probably through a couple of those corners, but he should make it back.
An important member for the team. They need him back there once they get off the descent and on the long run into the finish line.
Yeah, really versatile rider. Schultze can ride the front. He knows how to ride the front really well, but he's a great climber. He's the winner of the Herald Sun Tour as well, so he knows how to race for himself as well. What a versatile rider, but that comes from that grafting in Europe. Now he's got to graft his way back to the front and overcome his fears very quickly.
That stage of the Tour de France where he finished second, and it was the uphill drag to the finish line. That was on debut in 2022. It was Magnus Cort had been dropped from the breakaway, managed to get back, and he beat Nick Schultz in a sprint finish between the two of them, 7 seconds ahead of Luis Leon Sanchez, Matteo Jorgensen, and Dylan van Baarle. That was a quality group.
That was an amazing stage and finish, and that particular day I was right on the finish line, and as they crossed the line, they both there and they had to go to the photo finish, so we're waiting, and as you guys know, you can't interview the stage winner on the finish line. You're not allowed to. No one's allowed to, because they have to go back and do the international flash interview. So, but I'm standing right there waiting for Schultze. I'm hoping that he's won. As an Australian, I want him to have won, but which means then I can't speak to him for another 10 minutes. But I'm like, well, if he hasn't won, I need to be the first guy to speak to him. And it was such a tough one. And you know, as an ex-rider, you're analysing it yourself. At the end, I'm thinking he should have kept going there. He should have kept attacking. He had them on the ropes, and he had, you know, great man himself, Magnus Cort, who's won multiple Grand Tour stages. I reckon he had him, to this day, I still think he had him right on the edge.
Well, Jonathan Milan and Paul Magnier are now taking matters into their own hands, trying to get across.
Oh, gee. I don't know if that's the right idea, but they've maybe ran out of troops.
They're just taking more risks through the corner. Sprinters can do that.
They've got it. They can't afford to get this wrong. If they're going to get back, they've got to do everything perfect, and that is imperfect, what they're doing here.
And in that time, it's another 14 kilometres from the top of the climb. We're now down to 36 kilometres. That is also the pressure. It's the time now. Okay, it's still a minute 20, but they're running out of kilometres to get back.
Yeah, and their teammates, I don't know, they can all be doing a better job here. Someone needs to be calling the shots. You know, there needs to be a general in that group saying, you guys sit back here. You can't work just yet. You've got to let us do it. We might go a little bit slower on the descent, but don't worry, we're going to drill it when we hit the flat roads. But you can't be catching wind yourself, just two of you.
Yeah, because if they do get back, they pay a heavy, heavy price for the work that they've done. They are making some progress, though. It was out to the 120-odd mark between them and the Peloton. It's back down to 111, so they're still holding out some hope, but they need to get their teammates back there with them in a hurry. Michael Valgren is a handy teammate. And how about his journey to get back into the pro Peloton, Mitch?
Michael Valgren, he even did some time in the development team of EF. When he came back, he had another crash again. Was it he broke his leg again?
I'm not sure if he did his leg again.
So it was leg.
Leg that was the first one.
Yeah. Femur or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which
just
is tough.
Perseverance, Michael, to come back. He's just, and the nicest guy. You talk about nice guys. That's a bloody nice guy right there, and a guy who works so hard. I remember coming in the Peloton and hearing about Michael Valgren doing 40-hour weeks, and I thought I was doing big weeks at 30 hours. I thought, oh, geez, how does he squeeze another 10 hours into the week? So Valgren, he doesn't leave a stone unturned.
Oh, he's had a fantastic career, and he's still got more to come. This is the chase group. Sobrero is the rider in second last position. Casper van Uden has been slipped off the back. He's got Frank Vandenbroek there with him. This is now Chris Hamilton there. He's alongside them for support too.
Yeah, this is not working for this chase group. And the reason I say that is the up and downs, and they've got to get off this descent quick, smart, so then they can start getting some rotations. At the moment, they're flying through corners. Some are better descenders than others. We saw the two sprinters off the front. So they've just got to get off this descent, and then that's when they can start to really drive it.
It's not working well at all, because a guy like Chris Hamilton shouldn't be using his energy to chase back on. He should be using all that energy there on the front chasing.
Here's a look back at the peloton. It hasn't been a day for a conversation about the general classification, but a reminder of the leader of this race. It's Afonso Eulalio, and he has just a 27-second advantage over Jonas Vingegaard. Tymon Arensman is in third place at 1:57. Amongst the Australians, 4 of them inside the top 10. We have Ben O'Connor in 5th, Jai Hindley 6th, Michael Storer 7th, and Chris Harper 10th.
Well, I think it was the right move for Soudal Quickstep to leave Jasper Stuyven in this group. Sending him back, I'm not sure how much difference that would have really made because of these little lumps. Even if he had had the fresh legs, he would have dropped his sprinters. And I think maybe it's going to be too late when they get on the flat lands. A minute 20 with 30 kilometres to go. That's even hard to pull back a breakaway at that point, let alone a steaming peloton. So the fact that they've got Stuyven in the front group now gives them a chance in this final.
Can he save the day for them?
Maybe, yeah, I believe so. I think he'll be right up there.
He was second on the stage to Naples. Yes, there was a crash and a lot of drama around him. He was 11th in the first stage, doing the big lead-out for Paul Magnier.
Yep.
So he's been right there at the sharp end as the lead-out rider.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And he's won big. He's won a monument, so he knows how to get the job done. So he won't be overawed by that pressure of saying, okay, it's down to you now.
And he was a vital lead-out man for Jonathan Milan just last year, so he knows how to prepare a sprint. He knows how to put himself in the right position.
And earlier this year, on one of the few sprint stages in Paris-Nice, he finished third. In 4th place with Dorian Godon from Ineos, who's had an outstanding season with lots of wins. So Jasper Stuyven is a chance. Jasper, you're getting the green highlighter.
Yeah, I think so. Yep. Okay, so what do Movistar do? Because we've just reeled off a few potentials here. Do they change tactic at all now? Do they say, okay, well, now it's up to you other sprinter teams to actually do the bulk of the work? Or do they just stick to their guns?
Well, no, I think because, look, at the end of the day, Movistar don't really have a designated lead-out man. Ivan Cortina, Garcia Cortina probably was their best man for that job, but he's long gone. You know, I think Ular is going to be on his own, as he was on stage 4. So they want to just continue that gap. All the riders they've got left there have committed so much, they can't do a lead out now. They're, one, not in that position. 2, they're so fatigued. So it's up to Ular now just to position himself.
Yeah.
Colours of the Giro d'Italia. More smoke bombs and flares than any other bike race on the planet, the Giro. I'm cool with these ones because it's not in the eyes of the riders.
Yeah, that's right. It's out of the way. It's good. It's a good look.
They're easily accessible, aren't they? It seems like there must be a flare shop in every town.
30 kilometres to go. So when it comes to the sprint, you spoke about what should Movistar do. This is going to be a chaotic sprint because there is no lead-out train.
There'll be very few. That's right. It'll be 1s and 2s. Maybe NSN will have one left, but they'll be dropping their sprinters off, you know, potentially in the last 500-600 metres. So it'll be all about timing. A very cool, calm, collected sprinter, and that sprinter could be someone like Jasper Stuyven.
30 kilometres to go. The sprinters are chasing. Out in front, it's Movistar who is delivering. Looking forward to seeing who takes this one home.
In business, they always say,
I'll have my people talk to your people.
but what if your people flew with our people? Well, with Virgin Australia Business Flyer, not only do your people get velocity points, your business does too. There are exclusive discounts to excite your finance people, and you can earn even more velocity points with these people, which you then get to spend with your favourite people. So let's have your people talk to our people.
We need medical care.
Without
delay. Without
bias.
Without
apathy.
Without
silence. Civilians are not expendable.
Without
red tape.
Without division. We need doctors without borders.
Your next obsession, find it on Stan.
Something ancient here, feeding off our suffering.
Find the phenomenon watched by millions.
There is no way to fight those things. None of us are going anywhere.
Find how to become an unlikely legend.
What do you plan to do if this doesn't work out?
It's only a matter of time before I'm staring at you from the cover of a Wheaties box.
And find out the cost of success.
Imagine finding out your daughter is doing OnlyFans.
For your next obsession, find it on Stan.
Reconciliation lives in the everyday, and the values we share, and the choices we make. It's shown through actions, from the way we show up for each other, to the examples we set for the future. Reconciliation takes all of us, together. Let's all be all in for reconciliation. Authorised by Reconciliation Australia Limited, Sydney.
Comprehensive car insurance that costs a lot less because he drives less and he gets
10% off.
They don't only have Corbin Strong in the group, they've also got the Brit, Ethan Vernon, who's even faster.
So, now, question for you, Mitch. You know you're more recent than me. Is he now the favourite? You said Mattis Michels was probably the quickest there. Is Vernon a faster man? Ben Turner went there as well, incidentally.
Going off this race, I would say no. Michels has had better results here, but look, of previous results, Vernon's got a better track record. So yes, technically Vernon is the faster man. The thing that Vernon has over Michels is he's got Corbin Strong. Probably the only rider here with a lead-out man, an actual lead-out man that can position him and set him up for the sprint.
And almost the perfect lead-out man, because it is a 2% uphill drag which suits Corbin Strong. Oh, wow, this is interesting. This is really good. And I know we keep talking about the superstar in Jonathan Narvaez, but the camera just hasn't panned back. So the minute one of you spot him, I just want to make sure he's there, because I keep scanning my eyes towards the back on the left here and even on the right. I just haven't been able to spot him for the last 5 or so kilometres.
There's number 44, that's Mattis Michels. That's the man that they are working for. David Gonzalez is the rider from Pinarello Q36.5. Looking to see which riders are still in there as well for Astana. So 5th and 4th in the real sprint so far for Mattis Michels. It was a 3rd place finish on the first stage for Ethan Vernon. Ethan Vernon won the stage into the township of Wollonga, the 2 Down Under this year. The climb was cancelled because of the risk of bushfires, and that was that's an uphill drag into Wollonga.
Very similar. If anything, I'd say even more gradient than the finish today. So yeah, no, I give him he is the favourite.
It's not over, though, for the chasing group because they are now getting themselves more cohesive and they are starting to close the gap. It's down to 1 minute and 6 seconds.
Yeah, this is where they can make some inroads. On these flat roads, they're off the descent. Now riders like Chris Hamilton, these guys now who can really drive it on the flat. And for Milan and co, there's not much they can do. They've just got to sit. They've got to sit, be patient and wait.
Where is Gabrizabrier?
I haven't seen him. But he's the most loyal domestique. And if he's not in that group working, I wouldn't imagine that he would have waited in the peloton. Maybe they asked him to wait with Derek G. Or he could be ill and further out the back and actually be in the third group on the road.
Ooh.
They're like little hand grenades when they go back through the peloton.
Particularly now with the lids don't pop off like they used to. When it was a lid that you just pressed on, but now that it's a screw top, so it's like a rock.
Yeah.
As opposed to previously when you were racing Macca, the lid would burst off and the water would go out, so it wouldn't be as dangerous.
It was safer. Yeah, it's true. It's true. They've made them too good these days. Well, there they are side by side. Look at that. Peloton 56, chasing group 60. They're going to be desperate. They're more desperate. The chase group, that is. So they will close up a little bit.
Skis Lemreiser, who is at the front in second spot, is Turozzi from Bardiani. Does he bother with the chase? Is he going to assist at all?
Yep.
Yes, he is. He can't help himself. He loves it. He's pitching for a contract.
Well, that's it. I was just thinking that. Won't hurt.
The team on the left there, Bahrain Victorious, just sitting there licking their lips going, how good is this?
Oh, that's the team that I wished I'd been on back in my heyday. Got a teammate in the Magliarellas and they're like, no, you don't need to get on the front. There's other teams doing it. Just sit tight, Macca. What a dream run they've had these last few days.
This is Simone Gualdi at the back for Lotto Intermarché, a team that has been decimated by illness. 3 of their riders already out of the race. Chris Hamilton, number 154. Turozzi at the front of the group. Garofoli now coming through in the white colours for Soudal Quickstep. Paul Magnier can't afford to be that far forward. He can't afford to work. He's got to take the risk.
Yeah.
It's a rear wheel puncher. Is that Ben Turner? It's Ben Turner. He is the big chance for Net Company Ineos. Ben Turner has lost contact with the front of the race. And because of the gap to the chasing group, they created a barrage. They didn't let the team cars go past.
You're right. Did he have one team car there? It might have been their team car, actually. Does anyone wait for him from Net Company Ineos? Is there anyone to wait? I wonder.
Wow, he's going to be furious because stage 4, when he was maybe going to have his opportunity, when the exact same scenario played out, he was called back to help Egan Bernal.
Yeah, he was. And that was the one that maybe went missing. He ended up finishing 4th place on stage 4. Michael Valgren now coming through to the front once again. James Shaw is the next rider from EF Education Easy Post. It's getting willing within this group. It's not particularly windy, but they're still feeling it on their left shoulder, and they're getting tucked down underneath the wing to try and find some slipstream.
And they're holding, the gap's actually gone back up a little bit here, so they're holding the chase group. So the chase group are starting to flounder. They're starting to run out of steam here. They're pretty desperate at the start on the flat roads, but there it is, 121, so it's not looking good.
This is Pinarello from NSN. He's in the second group.
Well, that's why Turozzi's riding there, because he's got his teammate at the back there.
It's Filippo Magli, but he's not a contender for the stage. So who else is left now in this group for Net Company Ineos? Is Connor Swift still in there?
A couple of them have drifted to the back, just to the right side there. The camera just showed. I don't think they're dropping back yet, but they're certainly sitting on the back waiting to see if Turner can make it.
Well, here's a chance for the chasers to come from behind. If they have those moments again of disruption and they do stop working, look, this Macca, they're swinging out. Corbin Strong swings over. Ethan Vernon behind him. They need others to keep working, keep persevering.
They want to save troops. They want to save a couple of troops. NSN, of course, Corbin Strong, he doesn't want to go on the front. He's got to be there right for the very end for Vernon. So, yeah, it's not done yet.
It's not over till it's over. Just ask Igor Arrieta. This is Paul Magnier. And the team car's going forward. So the gap is blown back out again to 122. So that's not good news for Paul Magnier. It's been a warm day, 26 degrees today. He's now matched Cadel Evans with his days in the points classification jersey. Cadel won the points classification in 2010. Number 227, this is Silva. Florian Stork, he was second on the stage that was won by Silva.
Oh, wow. Two riders that we haven't really been speaking much about.
And look at the amount of riders that are there for Astana.
Yeah.
So they can get the lead-out train organised. They've got good numbers.
And they haven't done anything. They've sat back in this riding on the front. They've just sort of slipped under the radar. So they're just sitting back going, okay, this is good. No one's called us up. And they're sitting far enough back as well that they're going a bit unnoticed.
They're hiding.
Yeah.
They've got two very experienced guys for the lead-out, Mitch. They've got Alberto Bettiol and Diego Ulisi.
Yeah, they've almost got the better lead-out train of anyone.
I'd almost argue they've got very experienced riders, but not so experienced in that role. Both those riders are winners themselves. That doesn't always make the best lead-out man.
Is that Narvaez just on the back? I'm still looking for him. Ugh. Camera just pans up for a second for me.
Visma Lisa Bike have given water bottles to Giulio Ciccone. That is
There
Narvaez.
he is. He's there. He is there. He's hiding. He's got a teammate right in front of him. He's got two teammates right around him.
Got Arrieta and Jan Christian.
Now, they're inexperienced, but to have them is better than having no one.
Well, let's rewind back to stage 4. How great was that role that Jan Christian played? He put that amazing attack in at the end. They almost didn't get him back.
Yeah, it came really close, didn't it?
Yep.
It wasn't a exact lead out, but it did play really well into the hands of Jonathan Narvaez. It looks so calm and peaceful, the finishing town at this moment. But once the Giro gets here, it's going to be chaos.
It is. Beautiful museum too. Of course, the great Fausto Coppi. He wasn't born here. You pointed out he was born just down the road, Mitch, but he was a delivery boy. That was where he started riding his bike, in this great place.
The pink jersey, that was Felice Giomondi, a winner of all 3 Grand Tours and the World Championship. And he was at the event in Mendrisio for the World Championships in 2009 as part of the launch for the 2010 World Championships in Geelong.
Do you know who's pulling? He's like, what? Where? Out in front. Who's pulling? He's thinking, we're flying. How hard are they riding ahead of us?
Yeah, they're riding real hard.
Wow, that's a great insight. Look, two guys who have been battling throughout this Giro d'Italia, not only for the stages, but also for the Ciclamina jersey, now in the same position, almost teammates suffering. Both have suffered up the climb, both having respect. Just at this point of like, why are we not coming back? We are ripping it back here, and the gap is going out. It's almost disbelief.
Yeah, I think they're almost done here.
White flag up, Macca.
It looks a bit, doesn't it?
17.5 kilometres remaining. The sprinters, they have risen the white flag. It's out to 1 minute and 30 seconds. The pace has been infernal at the front and it's broken their spirits. The team cars are now making it through. Of the sprinters who have survived out in front, we've got the final decision to be made as to who wins the stage.
Yeah, they just never seem to quite get sort of organised, fluent, did they, back in that chase group with the sprinters?
So 17 kilometres to go, one last break, and then we're back with the final approach to the finish line.
Bless me, Father, for I've sinned. I was robbed of 15 years of my life. I intend on finding out why.
The Count of Monte Cristo. Stream free on SBS On Demand.
Hi, I'm Sean McAuliffe.
Each week, I'll be whisking a comedian away on an epic odyssey.
I mean, really, what could possibly go wrong?
Sean McAuliffe's Origin Odyssey. Stream free on SBS On Demand.
Who is this? I can't remember what this one is.
Shouldn't have any influence on the stage today. Paul Magnier, Jonathan Milan, Casper Van Uden. They looked like they were going to raise the white flag, but it's still been stabilised at 136. If they do completely sit up, what does that do to the momentum within the peloton out in front?
Well, I think it technically should slow it down, but I personally think they should keep it going. You want to eliminate any other rider who's been sitting back there launching a late attack, because no riders will be able to respond to that because they've been chasing so hard. Keep the pace going. Even though the sprinters are off the back, there is another chase group off the back. 2 riders from Net Company Ineos. We saw Jack Haig drop back to get his teammate Ben Turner.
Ben Turner, he is one of the contenders for the stage. A lot of support here for Filippo Ganna. It's his teammate Ben Turner who's hoping to get back in touch to try and get them their second win after Top Ganna won the time trial.
Yeah, really good point, Mitch. You're right. Keep the pressure on, but what they can afford to do, they can just back it just a percentage or two, just to make it a little bit easier for themselves. Still keep the pressure on, thwart any counter-attacks here, but they can just dip sort of, 3%, and then they know they can ramp it in the last 5 kilometres.
I feel like they've almost done that now, Macca.
It looks like it, doesn't it? The word's been given. Right, you're in the clear. Sprinters have put the white flag in.
For the 6-second time bonus, it is Eulalio and Ben O'Connor also going for the small time bonus. And this is about holding onto the pink jersey for as long as possible. He currently leads by 27 seconds ahead of Jonas Vingegaard. He now leads by 33.
I love it. I love it. Just smart riding. Did not expect that. And from Ben O'Connor as well. Grab every little second you can. Look, it might mean nothing in a week and a bit time, or it might be the difference between podium and 4th, 2nd or 3rd. You just never know.
Well, Tour de France 2017, when it finished in Marseille with the time trial before coming up to Paris, that individual time trial at the end, Mikel Landa finished 4th. Distance to the podium, 1 second.
Second, yeah, that's right. That's right. There was nothing in it, so... No, it can still be very tight at the end of 3 weeks, so this is just smart by Eulalia. And he's got a bit of zip about him, hasn't he?
This reminds me of a stage of Tour Down Under, trying to grab every second where you can, because it goes down to even the countbacks, doesn't it? Tour Down Under.
It has in the past. Big battles between Simon Gerrans and Alejandro Valverde for the time bonuses. Poor Richie Porte, if there were no time bonuses at the Tour Down Under, who would have won it a lot more often than he did.
Yeah, possibly would have won it the same amount of times that he won on Willunga, which is 6, I think.
I've lost count with
it's 6 or 7.
It needs to be just renamed Port de Willunga.
Yeah.
In honour of Richie Porte. Now when you're seeing Jonathan Milan at the front, the gap is out to 155. Their next opportunity for the sprinters, tomorrow's going to be very similar to today. Saturday, no chance. Big day in the mountains. Genuine general classification battle. Sunday, lock it in into Milan.
Yeah, that's a definite, you'd say. Flat roads.
And then at the end, into Rome.
That's it. 2 stages left for the sprinters. Today was a real opportunity, and that's why they went so deep.
They're now making their way through the Red Bull Sprint.
And you've got to survive. You've got to make it. 2 opportunities, but that's only if you get there, isn't it, as a sprinter? No guarantees.
You really liked that with Eulalia, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. No, they're just smart, and he's thinking long term. He knows probably not for the win, but he's starting each day that ticks off in the back of his mind, and definitely for the team, they're saying, a few days' time, we've got another rest day.
You know what this does also? Is any team or anyone who's looking at him as a rider for the future, they see that he didn't just take the jersey and try and hang on to it and then, whatever, sit in the wheels. He's racing for the jersey. He's using his tactical sort of nous. He's smart about the way he's doing it. I've seen him attack already coming into the finish 3 or 4 stages ago, trying to get one up. He said, look, best chance of defence is attack. Just great.
And you spoke earlier about talent identification and riders that are still somewhat raw, and there's plenty of upside. This is his first ever World Tour contract. Prior to this, he was having fun riding mountain bikes, and somebody suggested, why don't you go and have a go on the road? And they only gave him the minimum contract. They gave him the contract that you have to give a Neo Pro, a 2-year deal.
Yep.
So he's up for negotiation at the end of this season.
Oh, good year. Good year to be up for end of contract, isn't it?
And if you're his manager, do not sign anything yet.
No. Oh, no, you wouldn't be.
Because with every day of racing, his value is increasing. And Ben Turner has been brought back. Jack doing the job, the Aussie number 94, and it's Emmerich, the Norwegian, who is there as well.
They sent an extra one back. Over that climb came at the wrong time, that Red Bull Sprint, but they've been able to patch things up. Turner's back.
Yeah, and he deserves a chance, and he deserves the support. As you mentioned, he waited for Egan Bernal on that stage, last week, stage 4, and so he deserves now for them to repay that and give him an opportunity.
Yeah, the challenge is how much has he spent, and they've still got to get to the front. It's not very complicated in the last 3 kilometres. In fact, the last 3 kilometres, it's almost a straight 3Ks.
Still one more little kicker. I'm wondering whether someone maybe tries to chip off, even maybe a Ulysses type. Seeing as the starter's got so many riders, they may try and use their riders in a different form.
Yeah, that's right. I'm similar, thinking this is not going to be potentially just a straightforward lead out and sprint to the line. We just may see a late attack. Here we go. Turner and teammates, they've made it to the rear. Now they've got the challenge of getting to the front. They don't have to panic, though, I don't think. I think they can just slowly pick their way through.
James Shaw at the front, followed by Michael Valgren. Jai Hindley, first time we've seen him, off to the right of screen for Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe. And the fact that we haven't seen him today, good day for Jai Hindley.
That's 2 days in a row. You know, barely spotted him just a couple of times towards the end yesterday as well. So, no, these are 2 good days for Jai Hindley, and I'm imagining also for Michael Storer. So, all in all, we saw Ben O'Connor there collect a few seconds. So, you know, it's been a good day out for the Aussies once again.
Particularly for Jai Hindley, because of all the reports we've heard about him being ill throughout the rest day and didn't even go out on a ride throughout the rest day, along with his Italian teammate, Giulio Palazzari, who's in 9th overall. So 2 riders from Red Bull inside the top 10.
Well, look who's up there, just sort of keeping tabs on things. This is Caruso.
Yeah.
Damiano Caruso, one of the real statesmen in the bunch, and also Bahrain Victoria, the 38-year-old. He's sitting in 4th wheel there, making sure everything's under control at the front. I like that.
The last time there was a stage finish of the Giro d'Italia into Nova Liguera, it was in 2019. It was on stage 11, and the winner was Caleb Ewan. Caleb Ewan got the win ahead of Arnaud Demar and Pascal Ackermann. It was then Alia Viviani in 4th. Viviani is at the race in the team car for Net Company Ineos. There is the final 3 kilometres. It's uncomplicated.
Yeah, that's right. They've got that little chink there just before that, a left and a right, and then, as you said, Matt, pretty much straight run in. Oh, that's great. Caleb, he'll be joining us pretty much for the final week of this race too, so we look forward to his company, and he'll have some good reminiscing, no doubt, of his successes here.
And now we're seeing Visma Leasebike making sure that Jonas Vingegaard, who wears the blue jersey, is well protected. Tim Rex is the big figure who is at the front for them in yellow.
Ben O'Connor moving himself up the side of the peloton here, getting himself in a little bit better position.
Well, it is straight the last 3 kilometres, but it goes uphill at a gradient of 2.4%.
Some gaps will open up, so the GC men need to be in a good position here. When the sprint takes off, lead-out riders and tired riders are just going to get in the way, and next thing you know, 2 or 3 bike lengths.
Look who's there in white with the red helmet on Macca, Jasper Stuyven.
Yep, all of these sprinter-type riders now, the ones that are left that have survived the day, now it's their time to try and shine. And I just noticed Eulalia, the Maglia Rosa, he's stayed towards the front. He took those bonification seconds, and now he's just keeping himself right near the front for those reasons. He knows what the finale is like.
The national champion of Ecuador. Seen him much in the Giro? He's just arrived at the front. He's ready to go again. Jonathan Narvaez is in the hunt for yet another win.
Did you see the pressure Visma Leasebike put on to get the front position before this last little kicker? They were fearing something might happen here.
James Shaw, his job is done. He goes out the back. Ciccone wanting to make a late dash for victory. Now the challenge is on for EF Education, Movistar and also NSN to contain the move by Giulio Ciccone.
Well, Michael Valgren, he's been on the front for over 30 kilometres and he's still able to respond to the attack of Ciccone.
He's responding, but Ciccone is just taking a little bit of time. Valgren's now swung off. This is what we sort of alluded to, that there will be a late charge to the line, some fresh guys that have been sitting back, and here they are.
Arrieta, he is the next to go from UAE Team Emirates. He's won a stage. His team, they've won 4. They're riding on a high after the bitter disappointment of the nasty crash on stage 2, where most of the team hit the deck and 3 of them were out of the race. They've come back with a vengeance.
Well, now this is the issue. EF plus NSN, have they used all their men up? And now are they able to repair? EF have still got 1 rider left to try and close this gap. All that work not going to waste.
Arrieta there, just a bit of a tilt to the head. I can't come through yet, or I'm not going to come through at all. We'll find out shortly. Ciccone now flicks the elbow. He won't come through. Ciccone's going to be frustrated.
He does come through. As soon as he finds the legs to be able to contribute, he gets there and he does it. For EF Education Easy Post, this is Bolocki who is making a move. He's 11th overall. He's hunting a stage victory. This is enormous.
I love it. It's probably a little bit of a rush of blood, a little bit of inexperience, but why not? I like it. And he's causing some stress behind him because the other GC riders now have to close it up as well.
Well, he's closing it down for his sprinter too in the process. So his move, it's getting closed down for Mattis Mikkels. It's back together. Everybody breathe, reset. We go again.
And we go again, not necessarily with the sprinters. This could be another opportunity for a counter-attack here.
And next thing you know, it had an all-surprise Visma Lisa bike decide to take up the pacemaking.
It's Victor Campenaerts who sets the tempo. And Ben O'Connor paying very close attention towards the fronts. In the purple colours, he's moving up behind Jonathan Narvaez. And Narvaez, the wheel that he is on, is Jasper Stuyven. Also in there, not to be underestimated for Red Bull Bora Hansgrohe, Mick van Dijk.
Oh, this is... there's a lot of riders that can win this today. Just with the way it has unfolded. Yeah, all of the names that we've mentioned, you can't put it past any of them.
You talk about the super domestique. Enric Mas is positioning their sprinter right now. Ulario. Ular, he's moving him up in the wind. This is such a transformation.
It's a completely different athlete. This is outstanding by Enric Mas. Ben Turner, he arrives at the fronts. 5 nervous kilometres to go.
Yeah, now it looks like it's just settled down somewhat. Visma have thought, you know what, let's just control it, keep our man Jonas out of trouble. There he is sitting in third wheel, so it's actually smart by Visma.
And it's a big day in the race for the Chiclamina jersey. 50 points for the win. It's enough to see Jonathan Narvaez move into the lead and take that jersey away from Paul Manier, as Ben Turner has now slipped to the back. Turner is the rider that they did so much work to get back into contact. He is suffering and he is getting into the tuck and he's desperate to get back.
No, what has happened?
Did not expect to see that. That last little climb, that final acceleration, he'd only just rejoined the peloton. Underestimated how much effort that really took out of him.
Campenaerts is at the front.
Yeah, you're not going to win from there, Ben Turner. That's a shame, but even if he does make it back, he does, but he's obviously suffering. So there's fresher bodies there that I think are as quick or faster than him. So he will just have to ride in and wonder what could have been.
How about the pink jersey? Will he throw his hat in the ring?
Well, he was pretty zippy at the intermediate sprint for the bonification seconds there. No one else went for it, but still, he had some pretty fresh legs.
Well, these GC riders are going to have to sprint in anyway. They do not want to lose any time at the end. But with the slight uphill, I think we're going to see some strange things. This has been harder than you think today.
Another attack coming. This time it's from Bahrain victorious. It's Matisse Pachins. He's going off the front. He's been one of the workers. In fact, Alex Segart, it is. Segart, the time trial specialist. He has said that he has idolised Thomas De Gendt and he wants to attack. And he's got a gap.
Oh, this is fantastic, isn't it? This is absolutely fantastic. The team of the Maglia Rosa, they're not just content to sit back and defend. They also want to go for the stage win.
This is old school racing.
Well, Visma Lisa bike are happy to ride a tempo. They do not need to get Segart back now. The Belgian may have just surprised them perfectly. The sprinter teams have got no one left to chase. It's all up to Visma. Do they want to bring him back or not?
Well, it's a Belgian on the front for Visma, chasing potentially a Belgian. Does he want to? He's the young up-and-coming time trialist. He's the protege. Don't need to bring him back. Should I bring him back? Probably not.
Well, they're not concerned. They've already got 2 stage victories and they're all in for the general classification and they are slowing down. Victor Campenaerts swings off gently. It's now Bart Lemon who goes through to the fronts. The teams that have controlled the stage all day long, they are letting one potentially slip through their fingers.
Oh, this is crazy. You're right. They've worked all day really hard for this. These teams with the, let's call them the quasi-sprinters, the second tier, and they're going to throw it all away in a heartbeat with 2 kilometres to go.
They've got no choice, Macca. They've done so much to get to this position. Or is he running out of legs?
No, this is a rider from Soudal Quickstep who has tried to get it organised. Going off the front now with a look across the shoulder. This is Van der Boscher, and he was hoping to take Stuyven with him. Who's responding now? Movistar are trying to get the chase on in earnest.
Tudor now are getting organised, but it's the wrong teams, and they should have been far more organised than this. All that work put in, and they're potentially going to throw it away.
Lorenzo Malesi again. Larry Warbass organising the lead-out. Now it's Will Barter, followed by Florian Stork. Uno X Mobility with 4 riders still at the front.
1.3 kilometres to go. The thing that is really going to hurt Sugart now is that slow uphill drag to the line. He's going to have to really save some energy for that. Does he have the legs to finish this last kilometre off?
Well, he's about to hit the kilometre to go, and he's still got a chance. He's still got a chance, but you're right, Mitch. It's the uphill drag of 2% that just could be the sting in the tail.
Jan Christian is coming forward for UAE Team Emirates. He's got Jonathan Narvaez, and Narvaez is being followed by Ular.
Well, Ular knows the wheel to follow, but there's one wheel that they've still got to catch. And I'll tell you what, it doesn't look as bad. That camera angle, it can be deceiving.
Oh, Lechton's son, the birthday boy, he goes wide on the corner. Uno X Mobility now lining up for the sprint finish. 600 metres. Alex Segart has taken this race by the scruff of the neck. Uno X desperately trying to close it down. Mattis Mikkels is in the group. So too is Ethan Vernon. They're waiting, but are they waiting too long? He stole the march with 3 kilometres to go. They paused, they looked at each other, and now he is on target to take the stage. He's almost there. He's about to celebrate. Alex Segart, he took a flyer. He waited until after the time trial, and then he took a big risk, and he gets a big win. Segart, sensational. Fortune has favoured the brave today. Huge win for Segart. Toons leads them in. Art Toons from Lotto Intermarché. What might have been.
Wow, that is just classic old school, something we don't see often, especially in the last few kilometres. Probably 20 years ago, that's the sort of win that he has just done, Alex Segart. He deserves it. You've got to be brave. You've got to be prepared to lose before you can win. He was. And in the end, what a sweet victory it is.
Inspired by his leader, Alfonso Lalio, going for those points. He's gone, okay, we are on today. Bahrain victorious. The atmosphere inside this team must be electric.
Well, they've just... And look at that. The man that might have just inadvertently assisted Victor Campenaerts. But he had no reason to chase. He's a fellow countryman. They're both specialists in time trials. Segart, he's on his way up the ladder. Campenaerts has been around a long time. He's probably modelled himself for Victor. That was a nice gesture.
This Giro d'Italia just keeps getting better for Bahrain victorious. This was the move. Outside 3 kilometres to go.
Absolutely. He just brained it, didn't he? Just brilliant. Brilliant timing. Just a slight curve in the road there. And that is exactly when you want to go. You get the acceleration through the corner where they're actually backing it off. He nailed it.
And he jumps out of the saddle, opens up the throttle. Campenaerts not interested.
And the sprinters teams, or what's left of them, remember they've been chasing all day. They're waiting. They're saying it's too far to go. He's one man. We'll catch him. It's not. We've just got to be. We've got to be. We've got to wait. We've got to be patient. And in some ways that's true, but they also underestimated the strength of this man.
The fact is, no one was left to chase, and he read the script. He knew that.
Yeah.
He knew that if he went with Victor Campenaerts riding a tempo on the front, no one was going to come across on Victor Campenaerts. There were no riders left to chase, and he did it well. He had the legs to execute it, but he also knew that there was no one left to chase him.
And you know what else? It all worked perfectly because it was softened up prior to that. Ciccone on the little kicker. There was those couple of flurries of attacks. And that's when, after that, was when Visma went to the front. We didn't see him. Before that point, we didn't see him. We didn't even know if he was in that group. We hadn't mentioned his name until he attacked, so he was fresh and ready to go.
Biggest win of his young career. He's been the European individual time trial champion twice. He was 16th in the time trial on Tuesday. That was one of his major targets, but he has been saying the whole way through this Giro, he's going to wait until he gets through the time trial, then he's going to look for his chance to break away and win a stage. I didn't think it would quite be like that. I thought it'd be from a bigger group off the front and then potentially win a stage. That was something special.
Yeah, that was seasoned pro sort of material. Just with the intuition at the end there, timed it to perfection.
Tough day for Net Company Ineos. He's found plenty of bad luck in this race, Ben Turner.
Yeah, it's just not meant to be at the moment for Ben Turner. He's got the goods, but...
The Sagat takes the stage. Toon Aert in second position. Guillermo Thomas Silva was in third. Ethan Vernon was fourth. Sturven was fifth. Ular was sixth. Michels in seventh. Narvaez in eighth. Zambonini in ninth from Bahrain Victorious. And Loland was in 10th for UnoX Mobility.
And what else I love from that results sheet? The first two we didn't mention. We talked about pretty much everyone else that could win the stage. The first two weren't on the radar, and that's the beauty of this sport and of Grand Tours stages.
Alec, you are close to making it at Nokere. You made it the day after in Denain. That was in March. This is your favorite effort. How big is it to fend off the Peloton in a Grand Tour?
Oh, it's super amazing. It's my first Giro d'Italia. I came often to Italy to race in the youth categories as well. Wore the Maglia Rossa and the Giro Next Gen. And then to do it here on the biggest stage. While this Giro was already amazing for the team with the Maglia Rossa from Alfonso. It's amazing.
When did you decide to attack with 3 kilometers to go?
I would say yesterday evening.
And today, when did you see that this situation was good for you?
I had it always in mind. Saw this as a good moment on the parcours, and then I was really happy with how the race was going. Hard pace on the climb, and then teammates from the sprinters who were left had to ride hard, and this was my chance to go in the final when they were all on the limit, to push one more effort, and then yeah, for this result you want to give everything.
Is it an even more enjoyable way to use your time trial skills?
Yeah, of course, winning is the best thing there is. After a bit of disappointment in the TT, I think this is the right way to come back stronger.
Proficiat.
Merci.
Find me a better answer to a question in this year's Giro. When did you decide to attack at 3 kilometres to go? Last night.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? That is brilliant. I was expecting him to say, oh no, it was just instinct. It was, you know, I was there, saw an opportunity. He had thought this well planned out 24 hours in advance and possibly even longer. Probably when he looked at the race book, he'd earmarked this stage.
Well, even everything we said, he repeated. That's exactly what we said. All the sprint teams were on their limit. There was no one left to chase, no one left to do that one last effort. That corner in the parkour was the final corner at 3K to go. It was straight from there. He knew that was the last opportunity to attack. Well calculated, and I love how planned out that is. Even better, imagine how that victory feels when you've planned that out.
Oh, and you execute it. And those solo breaks, the aftermath and in the history, they always look better when you've got a screaming peloton in the shot. I think they look better than when you're winning and nothing's behind you. I like those ones better. I think they looked so good. Taco van der Horn, when he won stage 7 a number of years ago now, away all day, won the stage, but the peloton were literally, they were in the camera shot.
Into the warm-down process, Eulalio on the road bike, as he has been for the whole Giro, and Jonas Vingegaard on the time trial bike. The Tour de France is still to come this season.
Yeah, because there's no more TTs left in this race.
At the start of the day, Eulalio led by 27 seconds. He now leads by 33 seconds. Next best is Arensman. It's then Gould, followed by Ben O'Connor, who picked up a small time bonus today. Hindley, Storer, G, Padazzari, and Harper rounding out the top 10. There's as many Australians in the top 10 as there are Italians in the top 20.
Wow, that's pretty good, isn't it?
It's a pretty intense scenario there after the race, isn't it? Eulalia sitting there right next to Jonas. Both.
Gracias a todos por haber acompañado esta transmisión del Giro de Italia, la etapa 12. Nos vemos el día de mañana. Hasta la próxima.
Didn't it? Gave us plenty when it looked like, you know, we were just going to have a little bit of a snooze fest through the midsection of the stage, which that's okay. You get those in grand